Chapter 219. After Yen Ran got the exact information, she immediately picked up the phone and called the police. Police comrade, the actual controller of the missing Lei Feng Medicine Company is currently in Lei Feng Hotel Room in Huanghai City. Please send someone to the scene as soon as possible. At the same time, she also informed the police of the task force of this information, and also reported it to the company she interned at as soon as possible. After doing all this, Yen Ran picked up her bag and said to Xiao Xiao, "You rest early, I'll go back first, I still have things to do." After saying that, she left like a gust of wind, and Xiao Xiao was dumbfounded behind him. His hand stretched out a long way, but he couldn't catch Yen Ran's back. "That's it? Who said absence makes the heart grow fonder? Where's my new husband?" The police's speed was very fast, but when they saw the two people who were beaten beyond recognition, they all felt a chill. Now they couldn't take them to the police station, it was better to send them to the hospital first. However, this discovery was really satisfying, and it gave a major breakthrough to the nearly 10 billion loan fraud. Elder Yi was still in the dark. After he and Mr. Liu handed over the orders from the top, he thought that everything was going according to plan, until half a month later when he saw the news, he knew that everything was screwed up. The Lei Feng Medicine Company loan fraud case that shocked the whole country has been announced to be solved. The actual controller Yu Tian and the mastermind Lu Feng have been arrested by the police. Most of the stolen money has been recovered. This is an organized and premeditated criminal gang. The means of committing crimes are hidden. The case is particularly important. Please strengthen the supervision of the relevant regulatory authorities. Elder Yi looked at the special number that kept jumping on his phone. He had a headache. He didn't even know the specific details. How did Yu Tian and Mr. Liu get arrested? For the first time, the old man of Shangsu felt that the world was a fantasy. He trembled and pressed the answer button. Department head Zhou's roar was deafening. "What's going on? What's going on? Where did the money go?" Elder Yi took the phone away from his ear. "I'll go check immediately. I'll go check immediately. What's there to check?" Minister Zhou's exasperated voice was heard. "Hurry up and find a way to shut these two people up. If you and I are implicated, I will take your lives." Minister Zhou then added fiercely, "Think about it carefully. If the cultivation world threatens the country's security, is there a need for you to exist? I remember that you have a spiritual transformation pill. Do you want to use it on yourself?" Old man Yi was sweating all over. He hurriedly said, "I'll deal with it right away. Don't worry, there won't be any more mistakes. And, where's the money? Where's the money?" Minister Zhou was about to roar. "Right away, right away. I'll transfer some over from Zhoutian Entertainment right away." Minister Zhou was so angry that he directly threw the phone. He had a premonition that things were not going well recently. The Eastern aristocratic family's work did not make him feel at ease. It seemed that he had to find a new person to deal with. Yen Ran's position in the company rose like a rocket. Sister Hua was also grateful to Yen Ran. "Fortunately, you saved the rest of my life." The company's leaders looked at Yen Ran in a new light. In addition to her performance during the internship, they directly threw out an olive branch and asked her to work in the company directly after graduation. They also directly gave her a bonus of 20,000 yuan. When Yen Ran received her first salary, she thought that it was time to buy a gift for Xiao Xiao. After all, it was Xiao Xiao who made a great contribution this time. Today was the last day of her internship. Yen Ran stayed on her last shift and got off work on time. She looked at the extra 20,000 yuan in her bank card and directly asked Xiao Xiao to have a meal together. When Xiao Xiao heard that Yen Ran wanted to treat him to a meal, he was overjoyed. When he met people in the company, he said, "Today, my goddess got her first salary. She wants to treat me to a meal." His smug look was as if his tail was about to reach the sky. Jing Shu finally knew that her boss's goddess was his high school classmate. Her heart was broken. But when she saw her boss's love for his goddess, she resolutely changed from a girlfriend fan to a mother fan. She repeatedly told Xiao Xiao, "You must be well protected. Don't let others take any photos." But she did not expect that Xiao Xiao waved his hand. "I've been wanting to announce it for a long time. I can't wait for them to take photos." Xiao Xiao waited until Yen Ran got off work. He had been waiting in the car downstairs for almost an hour. Seeing Yen Ran come out, he quickly opened the car door and welcomed her in. Then, he held 999 roses in front of Yen Ran. "Congratulations to my goddess for getting her first salary." His eyebrows were curved and he was full of smiles. "This time, most of the credit goes to you. Tell me, what do you want to eat? I'll treat you." "I want to eat you," Xiao Xiao said in Yenron's ear. His hot breath wrapped around Yenron's ear, making her face turn red immediately. Yenran softly reprimanded, "Sit down." But the ending tone was obviously coquettish. Xiao Xiao sat sideways and said, "I'll listen to my goddess's arrangement." Yenran pursed her lips and smiled. "I heard that there's a new restaurant that seems to be quite delicious. Let's go and try it." Yenran directly took him to the most luxurious high-end shopping mall in Nanchuan City. She had reserved a seat in advance. After the two sat down, Yenran said, "My bonus is 20,000 yuan. Don't over-order it. How can I let my goddess treat me?" "Yenran, remember, in the future, I'll make money for you to spend. You can use it however you want, as much as you want." Yenran did not hold back anymore. She directly picked up the menu and began to order. Xiao Xiao looked at Yenran, who was opposite her. She seemed to have specially dressed up today. Her willow eyebrows were slightly raised, and her almond-shaped eyes were smiling. She had put on some makeup on her originally fair face, and her beautiful eyes were slightly charming. In Xiao Xiao's eyes, Yenran's smile and frown, her annoyance and her tantrum were innumerable scenery. It was as if the surroundings had become a foil. The waiter's question, the movement of serving the dishes, and the collision of the dishes on the table could not break Xiao Xiao's infatuated gaze. Yenran finished ordering and waved her right hand in front of his eyes. "Are you stupid? Yenran, I find that you're getting more and more beautiful. You're getting more and more talkative. I'm not as beautiful as you." Xiao Xiao held Yenran's right hand and kissed it. "This is different, Yenran. Your temperament is unparalleled. You're a natural goddess. All right, you're the only talkative one. Let's eat." Affection flowed between the two. She picked up a dish and he fed her a mouthful of fish. The love hidden in their eyes radiated like ripples to the surroundings. Several customers recognized Xiao Xiao and secretly took photos with their phones. Not long after, photos of the two of them eating were released on the internet. "Flower fatty fatty. Is Xiao Xiao really in love? My heart is broken." "Drifting ocean. Brother Xiao, wait for me. Save a place for me in your harem. Immortal lives in my house. Wow, this girl looks much better than the one with heavy makeup. Mu Xianfeng. Is this Brother Qiao's new relationship? Why is Brother Qiao smiling so happily? Stay up until morning. So Brother Qiao likes this. Tomorrow, I want to become a cold goddess. Plaid shirt, the one from last time was too flirtatious. This one looks more proper. This is the main wife. The one from last time can only be a concubine. Brick moving cola. Upstairs, what era is it now? Take your feudal thinking and wash it away. Laughing my teeth fall off. Occasionally, I'll find the one from last time. If I really marry her, I'll take her home." Before long, Jing Shu's call came in. "Boss, can't you be more mindful of your image? Don't act intimately outside. You'll lose fans." Xiao Xiao was confused. "When did we act intimately?" Jing Shu sent him a video. Xiao Xiao opened it. It turned out that he was holding Yenron's hand and kissing it. He said disapprovingly, "What's wrong with that?" Jing Shu was annoyed. "Boss, you're a public figure now. Watch your image, watch your image." Xiao Xiao hung up the phone and looked at Yenran, who had finished eating. He rolled his eyes and said to her, "Jing Shu said that I'm a public figure now. The video of us eating has been posted online. She suggests that we don't show our faces in public. Let's go to my house. I found a good movie and I'll introduce it to you." Yenran was hesitant. Every time she went to Xiao Zhao's house, she had to find a way to get away. It was becoming a headache for her. Seeing her hesitation, Xiao Zhao immediately raised his right hand and swore. As long as you say it, I'll take you home at 11 o'clock. Just one movie. If I can't do it, I won't see you for 3 months. Yanran looked at Xiao Zhao's playful face. She didn't know why she agreed. She didn't expect that she would really be like a sheep in a tiger's mouth. Watching a movie was a very healthy thing to do. They could just sit in the living room and watch it. However, Xiao Zhao broke the TV in the living room somehow. He took Yanran to his room as a matter of course. After turning on the movie, Xiao Zhao's hands began to misbehave in less than 2 minutes. After Yanran slapped his hands away many times, she found that Xiao Zhao took her to watch a pornographic film. Although there was no limit to the number of scenes, it was still not suitable for children. Under Yanran's strong protest, Xiao Zhao pressed the pause button. However, he didn't expect that they were kissing on the TV. For some reason, Xiao Zhao accidentally tripped and finally fell on Yanran. Then she heard Xiao Zhao shout, "Ouch, ouch, Yanran, my face is hurt." Yanran hurriedly held his face up to take a look, but just like that, Xiao Zhao got her way. When Yanran finally woke up and could speak, she asked in a hoarse voice, "What time is it?" Xiao Zhao felt guilty. He directly buried his head in Yanran's shoulder and said, "My phone is out of battery." Yanran heard that it was quiet outside. She pinched his waist and said, "Didn't you say that you would take me home at 11 o'clock? What I said was that as long as you said it, I would take you home before 11 o'clock. But Yanran, you didn't say it." Yanran was speechless. "My mouth has been blocked by you. How can I say it?" Xiao Zhao looked at Yanran pouting. He secretly took out the remote control and pressed the play button. Listening to the scene on the TV, while Yanran was stunned, Xiao Zhao kissed her again. "Since you don't want to say it, I will continue." "Oh, you pervert." Chapter 220. The next morning, when the sun was almost high up in the sky, the two people got up. Last night, Yanran escaped back to the guest room. This devil-crowned prince was simply full of tricks, making her heart beat like a drum. When she returned to the guest room and stood in front of the mirror, she found that her charming eyes were full of ripples, her 2 rose-like lips were already red and swollen, her neck was covered with spots of strawberries, and the clothes on her shoulders were torn. If she didn't tightly hold on to her collar, the consequences would be unimaginable. She remembered that under Xiao Zhao's attack, she couldn't help but moan. It was so embarrassing. This shameless Xiao Zhao kept encouraging her. "Ran, say it one more time. Hearing your voice makes me so excited that I want to go to heaven." She was really going to die. This crown prince of the devil world had finally lost his demonic nature and changed her name. Aran kept calling her. In the end, whenever she heard him call her Aran, her entire body would tremble as if it was a conditioned reflex. Crazy, crazy. This Xiao Zhao took advantage of her lack of spiritual power to bully her. Yanran believed that one day, she would be the master. With this belief, Yanran finally fell into a deep sleep. Xiao Zhao deliberately let Yanran escape. If she didn't leave, he would be demonized. He hugged 2 pillows, soft and elastic, but they couldn't compare to Yanran's delicate body. He felt that he was looking for trouble. That uncomfortable feeling lasted for a long time, and finally he fell asleep after taking a cold shower for half an hour. When Xiao Zhao got up in the morning, as usual, after washing up, he carefully dressed himself in the mirror. He had just combed his hair, when he suddenly stopped. There were 2 acne on his chin and neck. For Xiao Zhao, who was crazy about beauty, this was like a bolt from the blue. This. Kong Ming, Kong Xiaoming, you 2 quickly come out. Xiao Zhao angrily shouted. What's wrong? What's wrong? What happened? Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming were startled by Xiao Zhao. Come and take a look. What's on my face? Kong Ming took a closer look. Hey, what's the big deal? Isn't it just acne? Xiao Zhao gritted his teeth and said, Of course I know it's acne, but why do I have acne? It was like a perfect piece of art that had been dripped with a drop of ink. How am I supposed to face people like this? Kong Ming shook his head and said, acne on the face is a common skin disease that usually occurs in teenagers. There are many reasons, such as growth, damage to the skin barrier, malnutrition, fungal infections, endocrine problems, and so on. Wait a minute. Don't give me a lecture. These questions don't exist for me. Why am I the guild leader? Kong Xiaoming rolled his eyes. Isn't it obvious? You're obviously suffering from endocrine imbalance. What is endocrine imbalance? Endocrine imbalance causes excessive sebum secretion. It can't be excreted and blocks the hair follicles, creating a prerequisite for acne. The sebaceous glands of the skin have male hormone receptors. Some people have very sensitive receptors, so if there's a slight change in the hormone secretion, it will affect the sebaceous secretion. You're saying that I'm not satisfied? Qiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said. Kong Xiaoming shrunk his neck. I didn't say that. It's from the book. You only have one book, Invincible. Why would it mention acne? Invincible definitely didn't mention it, but Kong Ming told me. He reads a lot of books. You're there every day, whispering sweet nothings to each other. You don't even care about the feelings of us two single dogs. We can only rely on books to pass the time. You. Kong Xiaoming looked at Qiao Xiao, who was about to go berserk, and said in a low voice, Didn't you just solve your physiological needs last night? Why do you have acne? Unexpectedly, this sentence ignited a bomb. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming heard a deafening roar. You can scram now. The two stopped talking, and Qiao Xiao already knew where the problem was. He looked at the two eyesore acne in the mirror. He really wanted to peel off the two pieces of skin. He found a headscarf used for street dancing and tied it around his neck. Then, he put on a mask and wrapped it tightly around his face before he dared to go downstairs. Downstairs, Uncle Wu had already prepared the meal and placed it on the table. Seeing Qiao Zhao's evasive gaze, he couldn't help but feel strange. Young master, why are you so wrapped up at home? Qiao Xiao mumbled, I have a cold. Ah, is it serious? I'll get you some medicine. No need, no need. I'll be fine in 2 days. I don't need to take medicine. At this moment, Yanran came downstairs. Qiao Xiao quickly went up to her, held her hand, and sat at the table. Then, the two of them stared at each other. Yanran also had a scarf around her neck, and an obvious acne mark appeared at the corner of her mouth. Qiao Xiao stared for a long time. Yanran, your mouth has acne? Yanran fiercely glared at him and snorted. Yes. What about your neck? Does it have acne too? Yanran quickly grabbed the scarf around her neck and shook her head. No. Trying to cover up makes it more conspicuous. Qiao Xiao felt better. It seemed that Yanran also had acne. He was originally worried that his image in front of Yanran would be damaged, but now it seemed that they were even. Yanran, let me see your acne. As he spoke, he wanted to pull off the scarf around Yanran's neck. Yanran quickly dodged, but the more Yanran didn't let him, the more Qiao Xiao wanted to see. After all, Qiao Zhao's strength was greater, and he finally pulled off the troublesome scarf. After pulling it off, Qiao Xiao looked at the strawberry marks all over her neck. At first, he was stunned. Then, he smiled evilly and whispered in Yanran's ear, Yanran, this is my masterpiece, right? Yanran immediately blushed. She pulled the scarf from Qiao Zhao's hand and quickly tied it back. Then, she turned her head and ignored him. Qiao Xiao savored the aftertaste for a long time with satisfaction. Yanran, don't be angry. I'll help you get rid of it in a while. Look at me. I have acne. Qiao Xiao pouted and took off his mask and scarf to show Yanran his acne. Yanran burst out laughing. You deserve it. Qiao Xiao immediately shouted, Uncle Wu, Uncle Wu. Uncle Wu then appeared silently. Young master, Miss Yanran, what are your orders? Yanran was still not used to Uncle Wu's sudden appearance. She immediately sat up straight, but Xiao Zhao's words made her lose her composure. Uncle Wu, Yanran and I have an endocrine imbalance now. We need to eat something to clear the heat. Look, I have acne. Yanran covered Xiao Zhao's mouth and said to Uncle Wu with a fake smile, Uncle Wu, don't listen to Xiao Zhao's nonsense. It's not like that. However, Uncle Wu was even more explosive than Xiao Zhao. Miss Yanran, this is not good for your health. It would be better if you two got married earlier. Don't treat me as an outsider. I'm like the head eunuch in the palace. I'm in charge of all these things. I've already prepared tortoise jelly. Both of you can have a bowl later. For the first time, Yanran's face was almost buried under the table. When Xiao Zhao pulled her up, she realized that Uncle Wu was long gone. There was a bowl of tortoise jelly in front of her, and Xiao Zhao scooped a spoonful and brought it to her mouth. Xiao Zhao was still bragging at the side. Yanran, what's there to be embarrassed about? Uncle Wu used to be my mother's head eunuch. Even the sexy underwear was made by him. What do you say I make 2 sets for you? Yanran couldn't stand Xiao Zhao's nonsense. She fiercely pinched his waist. Shut up. I'll set the rules for you now. We can't go on like this. It's not good for our health. Even Uncle Wu said so just now. So from now on, you and I are classmates who have a slightly better relationship. We can't have any intimate actions. As for the time, let's tentatively set it at 3 months. Xiao Zhao immediately raised his hand to protest, but as soon as he raised his hand, Yanran slapped it down. Your protest is invalid. After saying that, she turned around and went upstairs. Xiao Zhao knew that things had gone too far. He couldn't let this go. He followed Yanran closely. Yanran, don't go. I'll help you get rid of the strawberry mark first. After a few minutes, Yanran's room door opened wide. Xiao Zhao finally convinced Yanran. If the strawberry mark isn't removed, it will be seen by others. It'll be hard to explain then. Yanran could only close her eyes and raise her slender neck. Xiao Zhao looked at the white skin in front of him. His eyes deepened and his Adam's apple bobbed up and down. The feeling from last night came again. It seemed that he really couldn't do it. He was asking for it. Xiao Zhao could only silently recite the mind-clearing mantra. He closed his eyes and began to use the devil chi to help Yanran remove the mark. Yanran secretly opened her eyes. Seeing Xiao Zhao with his eyes closed and working seriously, she finally felt relieved. A warm current covered her neck. It was as warm as the warm spring sun. The little strawberry mark gradually disappeared and returned to its original snow-white state. Yanran looked left and right at herself in the mirror. Except for the little pimples at the corner of her mouth, everything else had returned to normal. She said to Xiao Zhao, "It's done." Xiao Zhao opened his eyes and looked. The smooth, white skin was tempting. Yanran, I'm pretty good, aren't I? Don't stop me next time. Do you still have it on you? I'll help you get rid of it. Yanran stuffed the headscarf into Xiao Zhao's mouth and directly drove him out of the room. Only 5 minutes later, Xiao Zhao appeared at the door of Yanran's room again. Yanran, I have something important to report to you. It's really important. Let me in. Let's talk downstairs. Therefore, 5 minutes later, the two of them were sitting in the living room on opposite sides of the sofa, with a distance of 30 feet between them. Yanran, do you think you can hear what I'm saying from so far away? Considering your past, this distance is a little close. My ears are good. Speak. Xiao Zhao sighed. It seemed that the days of being an ascetic monk were about to start again. He could only bitterly say to Yanran, I just received a WeChat message from Yi Xuanfei. She's a third-year student at Nanchuan University as an exchange student. When it came to business, Yanran immediately became serious. Why is she here? It's probably for me. Chapter 221. Yanran glared at Xiao Zhao. What's going on? Speak clearly. Xiao Zhao's voice became lower and lower. I told you last time that I wanted to find the antidote for the spiritual transformation pill, so I used a trick and she fell for it. What trick? Speak louder. Chow Chow didn't close his eyes and stretched out his neck. A honey trap. But that was fake. Yenran, don't be angry. Chow Chow quickly explained. Then she fell for it? Didn't she and her grandfather want me to join them? They offered many tempting conditions, and I used the opportunity last time to steal the book on the spiritual transformation pill, but I didn't find the antidote, so I told them that I would consider it again. But I didn't expect Yi Xuanfei to be so persistent. When I left, she told me that she would come to our school. I thought she was joking, but I just received a WeChat message from her saying that she has arrived at the school. I've read the book you wrote down for the spiritual transformation pill. It has the recipe for the antidote. Chow Zhao's eyes widened and he asked in surprise, Yenran, you know how to refine pills? I learned it for a while, but I'm not proficient. The spiritual transformation pill and the antidote are not things that people like me can refine without spiritual power can do. The higher the cultivation of the person refining the pill, the better the quality of the pill. Chow Zhao's eyes lit up. That means, Yenran, you have the skills and I have magical power. Do you think we can refine the antidote together? One of the herbs, the immortal vanquishing grass, is extremely difficult to find and has long disappeared from the market. The aristocratic families of the East must have it. Otherwise, how could they refine the antidote? We also need a very good alchemy cauldron. We don't have any of these. Chow Chow had unknowingly sat beside Yenran. He held Yenran's hand. Yenran, don't be discouraged. Since we have a goal, we will definitely find a way. I think the aristocratic families of the East should have what we lack, or we can find it on the market. My crown princess will not suffer for nothing. They will pay for it with their blood. Yenran looked at Chow Zhao's determined eyes and was touched. Chow Chow, there are some things that we just have to try our best. Don't cause any more harm on you because of me. Yenran, I'm fine. But I may have to deal with this Yi Xuanfei. Yenran sighed. Thank you, Chow Chow. It's been hard on you for me. Since Yi Xuanfei has sent herself to me, I won't be polite. The aristocratic families of the East have now violated the oath of the cultivation world. Even if I have to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, I will find a way to take them down. Yenran's eyes were filled with endless fighting spirit. So what if she didn't have spiritual power now? She still had her brain and Chow Chow. As long as she was alive, she would exterminate the demons. After Yi Xuanfei sent Chow Chow a WeChat message, she only replied to one of every 10 messages. She opened the video of him and Yenran having a meal on the internet 2 days ago. His gaze was so affectionate that it was as if he had placed Yenran in a jar of candy. The comments on the internet actually placed her in the position of a concubine. As the princess of the aristocratic families of the East, she should be the main wife. How could she be a concubine? If Yenran wants to be a concubine, she has to ask for my permission first. Once I've dealt with Chow Chow, it'll be as easy as crushing an ant for me to deal with. Yi Xuanfei's admission procedures had been completed. Coincidentally, she and Yenran were in the same major. This meant that the two of them would have to meet frequently in the future. Humph. A little grasshopper without spiritual power. What's so good about her? Just wait and see. Yenran hadn't been idle during this period. She had been desperately collecting evidence of the aristocratic families of the East. Although the case of the pharmaceutical company had been solved, the traces were inseparable from the aristocratic families of the East. Just based on the fact that Chow Chow had seen Yu Tian and Old Master Yi meeting, it was certain that they were colluding. However, the emails she had sent through a special channel were like stones thrown into the sea. Yenran keenly felt that something was fishy. She specially asked her grandfather about this matter and sorted out the relationship between superiors and subordinates that she hadn't figured out before. The cultivation world was like a special force of the country. They enjoyed the country's subsidies and at the same time, they had to accept the country's management. Their direct leader used to be Minister Tian, but after the Golden Age incident, it was replaced by his deputy, Minister Zhou. From time to time, missions would be sent through other channels. At the national level, only a few people knew of their existence. That was why the direct leader had the final say. Yenran sensitively felt that the aristocratic families of the East were so brazenly taking down the aristocratic families of the South in one fell swoop and desperately trying to accumulate wealth. Could it be that the management of the aristocratic families of the East was lax because of the turnover of personnel? Or was it that the aristocratic families of the East were so well hidden that even the higher-ups didn't notice? The aristocratic families of the East colluded with the officials of various regions to form the most convenient way to accumulate wealth. The higher-ups were high and mighty, so they must have been deceived. Yenran thought of the email she had sent. She suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Would she have been stopped halfway by the colluding officials? Fortunately, she didn't sign her name. Otherwise, she would have been dead long ago. The day after she sent the email, Elder Yi met with Yu Tian. Could it be that they wanted to solve the issue of her email? It had to be said that Yenron's brain was smart. She strung together a string and guessed ****** correctly. However, she never thought that a fact that she had never doubted would be proven to be a slap in the face later. Finding the antidote for the panacea was one thing, but her mission and responsibility couldn't be chosen based on the size of her ability. What she was facing now was darkness, and above the darkness might be an endless abyss. She was like a warrior in armor. Even if she only had the strength of one person, she would pierce through the sky. Now Yenran was in the darkest moment, but she believed that it was the darkness before dawn. During this period of time, she had been secretly contacting the cultivators from the aristocratic families of the South. Some of them had joined the aristocratic families of the East, while others were still wandering outside. First, she had to unite these wandering cultivators and inform them of the evil deeds that the aristocratic families of the East had done and the harm they had brought to mankind. She believed that justice was always in the hearts of the people. Although their power was still very small now, there would be a day when they accumulated a lot. Yenran now had a lot of work to do every day. Other than going to school, she assigned the clues given by Qiao Xiao and Hua Gang to her newly formed team. She asked them to investigate further and collect all the cases related to the aristocratic families of the East. At the same time, she restored the allowance given by the country and reimbursed all the expenses in the process. Yenran knew that she owed Qiao Xiao too much, but now she could only rely on Qiao Zhao's financial resources to help the aristocratic families of the South revive. All of this had been carried out in secret, but the real thing was that she had to face Yi Xuanfei's provocation and difficulties. Ever since school started, Yi Xuanfei had become a popular figure in the school. Firstly, it was because she was an exchange student from the Northern University. Secondly, it was because of her family background. Thirdly, it was because of her charm. This was also the effect that Yi Xuanfei wanted to create. She wanted Qiao Xiao to see her excellence, and the title of the school belle naturally went to Yi Xuanfei. Yenran had always kept a low profile in school. Hua Gang's matter had affected her, but later on, many people knew that Qiao Xiao was her boyfriend. Now that Yi Xuanfei had appeared, the entire school knew that Yi Xuanfei was Qiao Zhao's suitor. As long as Qiao Xiao looked for Yenran for a meal, Yi Xuanfei would definitely be there. Brother Qiao, Bai Shui and the rest were suspicious of Yenran. "Aren't those your boyfriends? Why are they acting like her boyfriends?" Yi Xuanfei and Qiao Zhao's attitude was that they neither admitted nor denied it. They kept everyone in suspense, including Yi Xuanfei. Everyone else had the time to wait for the answer to be revealed, but Yi Xuanfei couldn't wait. She saw with her own eyes how much Qiao Xiao cared for Yenran, and her eyes turned red. She did everything she could to occupy Qiao Zhao's time. As long as Qiao Xiao didn't have classes, she would play truant to pester him. But Qiao Xiao was sometimes good and sometimes bad towards her. Later on, she discovered a pattern. When Yenran was around, Qiao Xiao would be more distant from her. When Yenran wasn't around, Qiao Xiao would deliberately be more affectionate towards her. Holding hands or holding arms was very natural. Yi Xuanfei felt that Qiao Xiao still liked her, but he probably liked Yenran more. It would be great if Yenran took the initiative to withdraw. That day, when Xiao Xiao said that he had to accompany Yan Ran to a lecture and didn't have time to accompany her, she finally exploded. In the afternoon, Yi Xuanfei found Yan Ran and forcefully dragged her to a secluded place. She tied her to a tree and patted her face, ordering her from above, "Yan Ran, you have nothing now. What else do you have to be worthy of Xiao Xiao? You should be more self-aware and withdraw from him. Xiao Xiao is still with you now because he takes pity on you. You have to know that his world is incomparably vast and only I can be his strongest backing. Are you really willing to just be a concubine? You have to be clear about your status. Find an ordinary person and marry him. This is the best ending for you. Don't be delusional about Xiao Xiao. If you insist on fighting with me, you have to consider carefully. Do you want to lose this beautiful face or this pure body?" Yanran's cold face revealed a look of disdain. "I have nothing now, but I have Xiao Xiao. You have everything now, but you don't have Xiao Xiao." Yi Xuanfei was poked at where it hurt and her face immediately contorted. She used her spiritual power and slapped Yanran's face. Yanran's mouth immediately bled. Yi Xuanfei finally felt better. "Just wait and see. Soon, you won't even have Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao has me in his heart. You don't know, right? He already went to my house and stayed at night. Do you want to see a photo of us in the room?" Yi Xuanfei found a photo of her wearing short pajamas. Although she had a coat over her, the skirt only reached her thighs. In the photo, Xiao Xiao was sitting on the sofa and she leaned against Xiao Xiao. This was a photo she had secretly taken that night. The angle was a little strange, but it looked really intimate. Yan Ran only looked at the photo coldly and didn't say anything. She knew that she couldn't win against her now. There was no point in arguing with her. The first time was just a warning. If I see you pestering Xiao Xiao again, it won't be so easy in the future. After saying that, Yi Xuanfei laughed wildly and turned to leave. Chapter 222. After Yan Ran regained her freedom, she laughed coldly and patted her clothes. She took out her phone and turned off the recording function. Then, she casually edited a few clips and opened the school's forum to upload the audio clip online. Yi Xuanfei hadn't gone far yet. She was delighted that she was able to reprimand Yan Ran openly just now. Ever since she was young, she had always wanted this kind of feeling, the feeling of being able to step on Yan Ran and rub her under the soles of her feet. She had come here for Xiao Xiao, and also to regain the humiliation of being second place for 1,000 years. But just as she was about to slap herself, her phone suddenly rang. Yi Xuanfei saw that it was a call from Xiao Xiao and she excitedly picked it up. The moment she called him Brother Xiao, the smile on her face disappeared. This was the first time Xiao Xiao had shouted at her. "If you dare to lay a finger on Yan Ran, I'll throw you into the beggar's camp and you'll have nightmares for the rest of your life." She thought that Yan Ran wouldn't dare to tell Xiao Xiao. She didn't expect that she would be accused before she could even take 2 steps. Yi Xuanfei was so angry that she returned to the classroom to prepare for class. A group of people looked at her strangely. She shouted at one of the girls, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beautiful girl before?" But she didn't expect that the girl wasn't easy to deal with either. "Yo, you have quite a temper. But I've never seen a homewrecker who comes knocking on my door." Yi Xuanfei rushed forward to beat the girl up. The girl looked at Yi Xuanfei's aggressive manner and said as she ran, "Your words have already been posted online. Don't you think you're embarrassing yourself?" Yi Xuanfei then picked up her phone and saw that a post on the forum had already been pinned at the top. Hashtag suspected homewrecker and scrupulously threatens the wife. Hashtag below was an audio clip. Yan Ran had cut out the beginning and the end. There were countless comments below. Frowny face milk tea is delicious. F***ck, are all girls so fierce these days? Highlight, a beautiful face or a pure body. Occupying a seat in the library, the homewrecker's jealousy is too scary. The school hunk is my brother. Brother Xiao is still the most charming. 2 girls fighting for the same guy. Nice to see. Bunny 8 watching spiders from above. She's the concubine from last time, right? She's the new campus belle. Did she chase after Nan Chuan? Brother Chow, think about it. Lemonguard, homewreckers should be dragged out and whipped. Where your heart desires. It depends on Brother Chow's attitude. Who is the mistress? Passers-by. Of course she's the mistress. Drag her out and chop her up. Past reset. Of course she's the mistress. Drag her out and chop her up +1. Blooming flowers for you. Of course she's the mistress. Drag her out and chop her up. +2. Mr. Glabella. Of course, this is the mistress. Drag her out and chop her up +3. Yi Xuanfei's hand trembled as she held the phone. Yanran, you're amazing. Yi Xuanfei dashed out of the school. Yanran had won the first round. After Yi Xuanfei returned home, her servants were the unluckiest. Not only were they scolded by her, but they were also punished to kneel. One of the servants was kicked out of the window by Yi Xuanfei because she didn't kneel properly. She threw everything she could get her hands on. A beautiful porcelain object hit the servant's head and fresh blood flowed down her forehead. Yi Xuanfei was delighted. She then treated the servants as Yanran and threw all sorts of sharp objects at them. The servants lay on the ground and didn't dare to dodge. Soon, they were covered in injuries. It wasn't the first time Yi Xuanfei treated them like this. The only thing they could do to these pitiful servants was to bear with it. What made Yi Xuanfei the angriest was that Yanran was inferior to her in every way. She even set a trap for her and Qiao Xiao was so protective of her. Just as she was venting her anger, Qiao Xiao's WeChat message came in. When I called you in the afternoon, Yanran was beside me. What did that mean? Yi Xuanfei's mind seemed to have come back to life. Was Qiao Xiao explaining? After a while, another message came. Let's have dinner together another day. Yi Xuanfei immediately replied, No, let's have dinner tonight. Qiao Xiao handed the phone to Yanran. I've coaxed her. I'm going to have dinner with her tonight. Yanran glanced at him and said sourly, You're really charming. Qiao Xiao hugged Yanran from behind and said intimately, My Yanran, are you jealous? Yanran immediately pushed him away with a red face. Don't call me Yanran. Qiao Xiao whispered in her ear, I know, it's not the right time and place. After Qiao Xiao sent Yanran home, he asked Yi Xuanfei out. Come out for dinner, don't starve. When Yi Xuanfei appeared in a private room that Qiao Xiao had booked, Qiao Xiao's handsome face was on full display. His carefully groomed eyes bloomed only for Yi Xuanfei and Yi Xuanfei was immediately mesmerized. Xuanfei, it's not right for you to do this. Won't this make the family restless in the future? You and Yanran will be my people in the future. If you're so jealous, you won't be able to live. You were the one who said last time that you would allow Yanran to exist. Yi Xuanfei bit her lower lip and said pitifully, You won't even accompany me. You only have eyes for Yanran. Who said I won't accompany you? Who's eating with you now? Come, open your mouth and have a bite of fish. How could Yi Xuanfei resist Qiao Zhao's gentle advances? She squeezed into Qiao Zhao's arms and hooked her arms around Qiao Zhao's neck. She said intimately, You haven't kissed me before. Qiao Xiao turned his head to avoid her and tapped her little nose. I'm a very conservative person. I respect you girls. I haven't kissed Yanran before either. I want to save the best for our wedding day. Yi Xuanfei's mouth opened so wide that an egg could be stuffed in. Brother Qiao, are you serious? I don't believe it. Of course it's true. I'm very opposed to overly intimate actions before marriage. Qiao Xiao said it so seriously that Yi Xuanfei was skeptical. But since Qiao Xiao had said so, she couldn't take the initiative. But she sat on Qiao Zhao's lap and leaned against Qiao Zhao's chest. Then she took out her phone and took a photo of the two of them. This is your promise to me. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming were rolling on the floor laughing in the bracelet. The difference in treatment from Yanran was too obvious. Then what will you do in the future? Then I won't find trouble with Yanran next time. Yi Xuanfei pouted. That's more like it. Go back and sit properly. No, I just want to sit on you. I just said to be obedient. Then give me a kiss. I said I won't kiss. Then I want to kiss you. Yi Xuanfei raised her head and was about to kiss Qiao Zhao's thin lips. Qiao Zhao tilted his head and avoided it. I like reserved girls. Yanran is better than you. Yi Xuanfei was unhappy when she heard Qiao Zhao's words. She had no choice but to return to her seat. Qiao Zhao saw that she was unhappy and rolled his eyes. It's not impossible for me to like you, but I have my eyes on something. Qiao Zhao deliberately dragged out the last word and waited for Yi Xuanfei to continue. What do you have your eyes on? I'll give it to you. Yi Xuanfei was being led around by Qiao Zhao. The last time I went to your house, I realized that the cauldron you used to refine pills was quite cute. Give me one. That's easy. We have plenty of them at home. I'll get someone to send you a dozen. You have the cheek to give me an ordinary one? I want the best. Qiao Zhao was back. He sat on the chair and rocked back and forth in a relaxed manner. Yi Xuanfei loved to see Qiao Zhao's casual and lazy look. He was so handsome. She immediately patted her chest and promised, I'll steal the one that my grandfather treasured and give it to you. Really? You're not lying to me? It's just that only the best is worthy of me. Yi Xuanfei agreed. Only the best, including herself, was worthy of Qiao Zhao. Then Brother Qiao, you have to give me a reward, right? Yi Xuanfei was not so easy to get rid of. Qiao Zhao moved closer to Yi Xuanfei's ear. He rolled his tongue and a stream of moist saliva brushed past Yi Xuanfei's earlobe. A current ran through Yi Xuanfei's body and she was immediately stunned. Qiao Zhao continued, I'm leaving first. Go back early. It was only 5 minutes after Qiao Zhao left that Yi Xuanfei regained her senses. She walked around the room 3 times and stomped her feet. She screamed in her heart, Qiao Zhao, I want you. After a few days, Yi Xuanfei finally returned to school. But this time, she was arrogant because Qiao Zhao had entered the school with her. She went straight home for the cauldron that Qiao Zhao liked. When her grandfather wasn't looking, she stole a precious cauldron that was used to refine pills. It was about 1 foot tall and looked like a small hot pot. Qiao Zhao frowned and looked at the cauldron in disdain. He asked Yi Xuanfei directly, Are you asking me to put duck feet, pig intestines, fish fillets, pigeons, and little sheep in it? Brother Qiao, do you think this is a hot pot? This is a cauldron used to refine pills. Grandpa got this from somewhere and it's the most precious treasure in our family. Look at this cauldron, it's surrounded by spiritual energy. One look and you can tell it's a top-grade item. Yi Xuanfei proudly introduced it to Qiao Zhao. Brother Qiao, send me to school today. Qiao Zhao looked at the cauldron thoughtfully. He was going to school too and they were going in the same direction. In the end, he went along with Yi Xuanfei's plan. Brother Qiao, what's wrong? Aren't you happy with this cauldron? Qiao Zhao said to her in disdain, You only gave me a cauldron. How can I refine pills? Why don't you help me get some herbs? Yi Xuanfei didn't expect Qiao Zhao to really want to refine pills. Brother Qiao, I thought you didn't know how to refine pills? Do you really want to learn? Qiao Zhao immediately came back to his senses. He blinked his charming eyes and said, Aren't you my best teacher? With you around, what can I not learn? But my dear teacher, when can you teach me? I'm free any time, as long as Brother Qiao needs me. Yi Xuanfei was overjoyed. She wanted to touch Qiao Zhao's chest passionately. Then I'll ask you out when the materials are here. I'll wait for your good news. Qiao Zhao pulled Yi Xuanfei's hand away and winked at her. He blew her a kiss and left with the cauldron. Chapter 223. Yanran looked at the cauldron that Qiao Zhao had placed in front of her. Are you sure it's for alchemy? Why does it look like a small hot pot? I was a little suspicious at first, but Yi Xuanfei patted her chest and assured me that it was her family's treasure. She had stolen it behind her grandfather's back. Really? Then let's try it. Yenran took out the herbs she had prepared and prepared to try it according to the alchemy method she had learned before. Qiao Xiao, prepare the demonic aura and heat up this cauldron later. Yenran first put a herb in, then gave Qiao Xiao a look. Qiao Xiao quickly put his palms together and covered the cauldron. The herbs in the cauldron seemed to be permeated by heat and gradually began to change. The green leaves gradually shrank and curled up together. The heat was not hot. Qiao Xiao did not dare to use too much demonic aura at first. The herbs in the cauldron were now shyly curled up in the warm temperature. But after a long time, it was like a frog being boiled in warm water. The herbs gradually dried up and lost their moisture, curling up into a yellow strip. Then, they gradually turned black and became withered grass. Yenran, I'm sorry. It's okay, Qiao Xiao, do your best again. The book says that you have to learn to control the heat. Yenran threw another herb in. Qiao Xiao tried to control his strength, but it was either too big or too small. The herbs either changed or withered. It was impossible to refine them into powder. Qiao Xiao tried a few times. His hands were sore, but there was no effect. He could not help but feel a little discouraged. It's okay, Qiao Xiao, do your best again. Yenran would always say this. No matter how many times Qiao Xiao failed, Yenran would always encourage him. Qiao Xiao was encouraged by this. Every failure became a touchstone for him, and the next time, he would be even more successful. Yenran was just like that. She seemed to have a kind of magic and determination that made people willing to believe in her. At the same time, her eyes were always a kind of affirmation and encouragement to others. This made Qiao Xiao still think that he would definitely succeed even after failing hundreds of times. After every failure, he would shout with Yenran, "It's okay. Come on, try again." Although there were only two of them, they seemed to have gathered the strength of a team. There was no perfect individual, but there was definitely a perfect team. Later, they changed their method. Yenran brought over a basin of water with a thermometer in it. Come, Qiao Xiao, let's start from 0 degrees. I need you to be accurate to every degree. Alright, Yenran, we will definitely succeed. Qiao Xiao slowly grasped the method of heating with demonic qi. Refining pills was very particular, especially the effect of spiritual power or demonic qi on the temperature of the pill. In the end, it determined the quality of the pill. This was written clearly in the book. However, this temperature could not be measured with a human thermometer. Secondly, it depended on the state of Qiao Xiao's own pill. In the end, it would communicate with Qiao Xiao. Yenran said, "A good pill also has spiritual awareness. When you truly refine a pill with spiritual awareness, then it will be considered a success." But Yenran, we still haven't found the immortal execution grass. Why do we have to start practicing? Learning alchemy is a long process. Without 1 or 2 years, we won't be able to enter the door. Even if we find the immortal execution grass, we won't be able to quickly refine it. It's better to practice our own basic skills first. If one day we find the immortal execution grass, then we can refine the antidote for the spiritual transformation pill. Alright, Yenran, I'll listen to you. I'll support you with all my strength. Although Yenran didn't have spiritual power, she had always been like the backbone of Qiao Xiao. As long as Yenran was there, Qiao Xiao didn't have to worry about anything. He was like a 100% executor, carrying out Yenran's orders perfectly. Therefore, this 2-person team was more powerful than a 100-people team. Qiao Xiao's company's helmets were selling very well, and orders were pouring in. He had also signed a few other artists under his company, and his performance was improving day by day. Jing Shu helped him find a few endorsements, and she wanted Qiao Xiao to take them. Qiao Xiao waved his pen and let the newcomers go first. Jing Shu rolled her eyes. "Boss, they specifically asked you to be the endorser. If you change people, no one will agree." Zhang Deong quietly snuck in. "Brother Qiao, there's an order. Zhoutian Entertainment is also fighting for it." Qiao Xiao heard. "Why didn't you say so earlier? I'll take this order." Zhang Daong knew that Zhoutian Entertainment was Brother Chao's nemesis. He didn't know how he had offended Xiao Xiao, but he was on his own. Zhang Daong only knew that he couldn't offend Xiao Xiao. Only by hugging onto Xiao Xiao's thigh could he run towards the golden road of wealth. In university, there was plenty of time. Rather than being pestered by Yi Xuanfei on campus, he might as well go out and do something serious. This time, it was a movie role. The director took the initiative to hand over the script. Later on, Xiao Xiao found out that it was director Lin who had taken a fancy to him when he was filming a mineral water commercial. His script was a youth idol drama, and Xiao Xiao was the most suitable male lead. He satisfied all the girls' fantasies. He was young, promising, youthful, charming, and extremely talented. He was simply a replica of Xiao Xiao in real life. When director Lin saw this script, he immediately thought that the male lead had to be Xiao Xiao. And now, the biggest headache was that Zhoutian Entertainment wanted to be the sponsor. They wanted to promote their most famous actor, Jiang Nan. The entertainment industry was like this. Celebrities were glamorous and dazzling, but the real power in the industry was still the power of capital. And after so many years of accumulation, Zhoutian Entertainment had quite a lot of capital. If they stomped their feet in the industry, half of the entire entertainment industry would shake. But director Lin was a very persistent person. Although Jiang Nan's acting skills were also very good, and they had worked together before. But for this movie, it was relatively more mature and lacked a bit of youthfulness. After he tactfully rejected Jiang Nan's agent countless times, the general manager of Zhoutian Entertainment, Ming Tian, directly called him. Director Lin, we are very optimistic about your new movie. But if you want to be stable, I suggest that you use an old man. Jiang Nan is an artist under our company. We are also willing to invest a portion of the funds in this movie. What do you think? Director Lin was also a stubborn person. I'm sorry, President Ming. We have already decided on the main lead. It's a newcomer with a lot of potential. He is more suitable for our movie. Jiang Nan is also very good. After this movie is finished, I will definitely look for him for the next one. Ming Tian listened to these polite words that didn't move him. Recently, Elder Yi had taken a large amount of funds from his company, which made him feel very tight. He urgently needed a large investment to make up for the previous hole. The helmet incident caused Zhoutian Technology to be unable to recover. It was basically a dead shrimp. If they wanted to rise again, they needed new products and new technology. But it wasn't that easy. If Zhoutian Entertainment's funds couldn't keep up, it would be a very big problem. Now, what was in front of Ming Tian wasn't how much to earn, but life and death. He had to find a way to get this project. Go and find out which actor director Lin has his eyes on. Put his detailed information on my desk within 3 days. 3 days later, a detailed information was placed on his desk. Ming Tian had just opened it when a very familiar portrait appeared in front of his eyes. His hand trembled and the information fell on the table. F*CK, why is it him? Ming Tian's head hurt. Was this person his nemesis? This was young Mrs. Favorite. Everything that had happened at his company last time still left him with a lingering fear. Young Mrs. Attitude and this person's ability were obviously people he couldn't afford to offend. He frowned and closed his eyes to think for a long time. Then, he called Elder Yi. Elder Yi, our company is currently fighting for a very good role in a movie. If the investment is successful, the profits will be considerable. But the person competing with us for the male lead is Xiao Xiao, whom young Miss brought over last time. What do you think we should do? Elder Yi heard that this was indeed a troublesome matter. Yi Xuanfei had told him that Xiao Xiao had the intention to join their Eastern aristocratic family. If that was really the case, then the interests of their two families would be tied together in the future. Then let Xiao Xiao be the male lead. We can just invest directly. But Director Lin said that Xiao Xiao will bring in the funds directly. They already have enough funds. Now, we have to think of a way to get the male lead. Only then can we bring in the funds. Where did Xiao Xiao get so much money? I heard that his family owns a mine. How about this? I'll call Xuanfei and ask her to think of a way. Grandpa, isn't it a good thing that Xiao Xiao is acting in a movie? I can't wait for him to become famous. Why do you still want to take away his resources? But his competitor is our Jiutian Entertainment. We still need to rely on it to make money. Grandpa, our family has so much money. Why do we still need this? If it doesn't work this time, we can earn more next time. This is Xiao Zhao's first time acting in a movie. Don't ruin it for him. Elder Yi and Yi Xuanfei were speechless. This granddaughter of theirs had grown up and was already in a relationship. How is your relationship with Xiao Xiao now? How far have you progressed? I'm doing well with him. Grandpa, don't worry about it. Xiao Xiao will be your grandson-in-law in the future. Then has he agreed to join our Eastern aristocratic family? He has a free personality. He doesn't want to be restricted by these things. We'll talk about it after he gets married. You're even thinking about marriage? You're in such a hurry to get married? Grandpa, you're making fun of me again. I want to get married as soon as I graduate from university. The sooner I settle Xiao Xiao, the sooner I can, the better. Grandpa, won't you have another helper? Elder Yi was really speechless. After hanging up the phone, he could only tell Ming Tian, let's give up on this movie first and think of other ways. Ming Tian was anxious. Elder Yi, the company's cash flow is already in a crisis. We've invested in many movies and TV shows, but they've been stuck. We don't know when they'll be released. We still have 2 years. After 2 years, all the loans will be due. If there's no new investment returns, Jiutian Entertainment will have to close down just like Jiutian Technology. It's already reached this point? Chapter 224. Was it that serious? Yi SNR was shocked. Show me your latest report. Yi SNR looked at the report and realized the seriousness of the matter. Some of the projects they had invested in were supposed to be released on various online platforms and local TV stations as well as cinemas. But for some reason, they were all stopped. The reason was that the higher-ups had been very strict recently and all the dramas had to go through the process again. Some of the more extreme ones had been returned for reshooting. The main reason was that they didn't know the exact reason. The connections they had made before were still there and they didn't say anything unusual. Yi Sana had a keen sense of smell. He immediately ordered, Ming Tian, go and check again. Is it only our company's dramas that have been stopped, or is it the case for the entire industry? I've already checked. It seems that there's an order from the higher-ups to clean up. Other companies' dramas have also been returned, but it seems that our company's dramas have more. Could it be that it's really an unlucky year? Although Director Lin's drama is about youth idols, he's full of positive energy. It also combines the current hot topic of school violence. With Director Lin's label, it will definitely be a hit. I've heard that the higher-ups are focusing on school violence, so they want to use this movie to guide the entire society to pay attention to school violence and let the youth grow up healthily. This is really a serious drama. I've already asked the higher-ups and they said that this drama is to be filmed. After filming, they will immediately give us a permit. It seemed that this role had become a battleground for military strategists. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. This Xiao Xiao was the person he wanted to win over. He was also Yi Xuanfei's sweetheart. However, this person looked free and unrestrained. He didn't seem to be a career-minded person, but more like a playboy. Yi SNR. He didn't know what kind of opportunity he had to become a master, but he didn't have much ambition. After he came to the house last time, he seemed to admire him, but there was no desire in his eyes. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. He didn't lack money and had no weaknesses. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. Yi SNR. She wanted to refine pills to control Xiao Zhao's mind, but first of all, pills were difficult to refine. Second of all, Yi Xuanfei hadn't found an opportunity. Chow Xiao always told her that he vomited last time. Did she want him to vomit again? Oldie, you can't hesitate anymore. If the capital chain breaks, it'll be over. How about this? Don't let Xuanfei know about this. Go look for him personally and see what conditions he has. Yan Ran was the driving force behind Zhoutian Entertainment's crisis. Through her constant operations, the team hidden in the shadows grew stronger and stronger. Just as Yan Ran thought, the Eastern aristocratic family's crazy expansion and amassing of wealth not only attracted the attention of some of the country's upper echelons, but also raised doubts in the cultivation world. Originally, the northern aristocratic families and the western aristocratic families were peacefully adhering to their duties in their own territories. However, they did not expect that after the eastern aristocratic families broke through the southern aristocratic families, they had the intention of reaching out to the northern and western aristocratic families. The reason why they did not take action was probably because the southern aristocratic families had not found a suitable successor and had not been fully integrated. After Yanran's secret operations, she found out that there were many people in the southern aristocratic families who had the same firm beliefs as her. They could not stand the actions of the eastern aristocratic families, so they drifted away. Some people who had joined the eastern aristocratic families received tasks that they could not accept, so they simply slacked off. This made Yanran more confident. It was much better to have a group of like-minded people with her than to fight alone. Her daily job was to keep in touch with the cultivators from all over the country, train them, preach their ideals and beliefs, and inform them of the evil deeds of the eastern aristocratic families. Only the cultivators themselves could fight against the malignant tumors of the cultivators, so that the righteousness of the human world would last forever and return the spring of the cultivation world. At the same time, Yanran also constantly told the cultivators of the eastern aristocratic families the truth. The pills they took daily went against the natural growth of cultivators, and the price for this kind of action was a reduction in their lifespan. This kind of thing was useless once, but it gradually spread through the cultivators' world, and finally reached the ears of the cultivators of the eastern aristocratic families who took the pills regularly. Yanran slowly placed the crimes of the eastern aristocratic families on her desk one by one. Yanran was not in a hurry. She picked out a few officials who were in cahoots with the eastern aristocratic families and reported them through normal human channels. It looked like they were all local officials, but when the cases of these local officials were strung together, it was obvious that a huge spider web was connected to Zhoutian Entertainment, Zhoutian Technology, and the Zhoutian Group behind them. If one did not investigate, one would not have known. Yanran had the most complete picture of the Zhoutian Group on her desk. Since the first listed company many years ago, the Zhoutian Group had formed a huge industry. They held shares of many listed companies, many banks, securities companies, and other financial institutions. There were dozens of related companies under them. If these companies were all listed, the true owner of the Zhoutian Group's assets would reach tens of billions. Over the years, the Zhoutian Group had gradually changed from a blind spot in policy and market opportunism to a combination of industry and finance. With Zhoutian Entertainment and Zhoutian Technology as the head, many listed companies, media, and film companies as the core, and financial institutions as the core, the vertical axis of the financial industry, establishing a combination of industry and finance. According to the rough calculation of all the listed companies, the total assets of the Zhoutian Group were over 100 billion. However, the most important thing was that the actual assets of Zhoutian Technology and Zhoutian Entertainment were shrinking year after year, and there were even problems with the flow of funds. Where did the hidden national tycoon's money go? Young Master Chow, long time no see. How have you been? Ming Tian's face wrinkled up like a ball of crumpled tissue paper when he smiled. Chow Xiao lazily sat in his boss's chair with his two legs on the table. He looked at Ming Tian and asked with a fake smile, "Chief Lin, you've come all the way here. What can I do for you?" No, I wouldn't dare to ask. Long time no see, young Master Chow. I just happened to come and see what you need. What do I need? I don't need anything. Look, young Master Chow, Director Lin has a new movie. I heard that you're interested, but our old man Yi is also interested. He asked me to tell you that as long as you're willing to let go of this movie, you can name any conditions you want. Oh, you're interested. Then what did Director Lin say? Ming Tian choked and cursed in his heart. Does Director Lin need to ask me what he said? However, he still maintained the smile on his face. Director Lin asked me to ask for your opinion. I'm quite interested in this movie. It fits my image very well, so I'd like to act in it. Oh no, there was no way to continue this conversation. Ming Tian paused for a moment, then continued to persuade, Look, what do you want to achieve? We'll help you achieve it. Qiao Xiao became even more casual. His legs on the table were already shaking. Then tell me, what do you have that I'm interested in? Ming Tian choked again. Before he came, he had racked his brains but still couldn't think of what Qiao Xiao would want. That, money, beautiful women, status, or rare treasures. Ming Tian counted with his fingers. Forget about money. If the movie I invested in is a big hit, I won't be able to finish spending the money. If you could give me that kind of profit, you probably wouldn't have come. As for beautiful women, have you asked your young mistress Yi? Would she rush over and chop you up? Qiao Xiao said slowly. When Ming Tian heard this, he instantly broke out in cold sweat. How could his mouth say the word beauty? There's also status. Previously, Old Master Yi said that he would give me a position that was second only to him and above everyone else. I still have to consider. What better position do you have? Ming Tian almost knelt down one day. But after thinking about it, if Qiao Xiao and Yi Xuanfei got married in the future, she would become his immediate superior. He couldn't offend her, he definitely couldn't offend her. As for rare treasures, I'm quite interested in that. But you have to show me what you have first before I can decide, right? Ming Tian's face revealed a relieved expression. It seemed that there was still room for discussion. As long as Qiao Xiao liked it, there was hope. Then, young Master Qiao, may I know what type of treasure you like? I like everything. As long as it's a rare treasure, especially one from the Eastern aristocratic families, it's probably not ordinary. All right, young Master Qiao, please wait for a few days. I'll go back and get them to make a list and take a photo. You can choose whatever you like. Ming Tian went back happily. This trip wasn't in vain. No matter what, there was still hope to work hard. Once Ming Tian left, Qiao Xiao called Yanran. Yanran was in class and replied to his WeChat message that she would talk to him at night when she was refining pills. Qiao Xiao pondered for a long time. Finally, he found a good opportunity to get the celestial execution grass. But if he asked them for it so openly, would it arouse their suspicion? Also, logically speaking, this kind of business competition was normal. Since Director Lin had taken a fancy to him, it wasn't a big deal for Jiutian Entertainment to look for another drama. Why did they have to fight with him for this one? Although Qiao Xiao was also optimistic about the success of this drama, it wasn't to the point where he had to do it. Letting him act was purely out of interest. Also, he wanted to rely on his own ability to earn money. If he always relied on Uncle Wu, wouldn't it be suspicious of him living off his parents? His Yanran was also in need of money now. He had to think of a way to earn a lot of money to satisfy Yanran. So he was still a little conflicted. After thinking for a long time, he still couldn't come to a conclusion. Qiao Xiao simply threw his phone on the table. These conflicted things should be left to Yanran. He just needed to be an obedient, handsome man. The most important thing was that Yanran would come to his house at night. It had already been 2 months since the 3-month deadline that Yanran had set last time. Every day, he would look at Yanran with hidden bitterness, but he would always be stopped by her small hand. Cultivating and refining pills filled the daily schedule for the two of them to see each other. The days of an ascetic monk were hard to endure. Chapter 225. Yanran, it's been hard on you recently. You've lost weight again. Eat some tortoise cream to nourish yourself. This tortoise lingji cream nourishes yin, moistens dryness, and reduces internal heat. You've been under a lot of pressure recently, and that bunch of Eastern aristocratic families haven't stopped either. Don't be too busy and harm your body. Tonight, Chow Zhao's perfect face was really like a lackey, and Yen Ran immediately heard something fishy. What happened? Why did you call me so urgently in the afternoon? Chow Zhao rolled his eyes. Let's get down to business first. Yen Ran, didn't I listen to you and prepare to earn money to repay Uncle Wu? So Zhang Deong helped me get a movie. It's directed by the famous director Lin. He took a fancy to me and asked me to play the male lead. Chow Zhao was really proud. Our Chow Zhao is the best. Yen Ran heard this and her cold eyes curved. She sincerely praised Chow Zhao. Then won't I be able to see our Chow Zhao in the movie? Chow Zhao was excited. Yen Ran, you also want me to act, right? I know you know me the best. I'll act well and make you proud of me. Yen Ran pinched his cheeks and said, Good luck. However, there's trouble. Today, Ming Tian from the Eastern aristocratic families came looking for me. They also want to fight for this role. I originally didn't want to give it to them, but they said that I can raise any conditions. Do you think I can just ask them for the immortal execution grass? Then there's hope for us to get the antidote for the spiritual transformation pill. Chow Zhao became more and more excited as he spoke. Yen Ran was silent. Why do they value this role so much? They didn't say, but I can see that Ming Tian cares a lot about this role. Could it be because it's director Lin's movie, so it's bound to be a big hit? Chow Zhao raised his two beautiful eyebrows. No, it proves that they are very short of money right now. Yen Ran said with certainty. Logically speaking, the Eastern aristocratic family should be rich and overbearing. Even if they can't get this role, they won't lose out in other aspects. Last time, we messed with Zhouqian Technology, but Zhouqian Entertainment didn't lose anything, other than the endorsement of Jialua being snatched by me. Chow Zhao couldn't figure it out. That was a while ago. These few blows have been quite heavy on them. Moreover, they wanted to scam loans from pharmaceutical companies, but we directly blocked their channels. Therefore, I estimate that they are now in a huge shortage of funds. There must be a problem with their cash flow. Yenron's eyes flashed with wisdom. She clenched the spoon in her hand. Chow Zhao, it seems that our chance has come. Hearing Yenron's words, Chow Zhao's eyes lit up with excitement. Yenran, tell me what to do. I'll listen to you. Don't give this movie to them. We'll find the opportunity to get the immortal execution grass in the future. Use this opportunity to completely cut off their cash flow. I'll cooperate with you in the surroundings. Hopefully, this time, they'll suffer a huge loss. Actually, this was exactly what Chow Zhao wanted. He was also quite reluctant to give up this role that was hard to come by. However, Yenron's matter was more important. Yenron's idea was definitely right. Chow Zhao held Yenron's hand. Yenran, don't worry. As long as the immortal execution grass is still there, I'll definitely find a way to get it for you. Yenran smiled gently. Chow Zhao, it's fine. Don't I still have you now? Chow Zhao was elated. Yenran, you're finally willing to rely on me. This proves that you really have me in your heart. Previously, you kept saying that you wanted to return my favor and my money. You're treating me like an outsider. You're going to be my crown princess in the future. You're the woman that I love the most in my life. If I don't grow up to be a towering tree, how can I let you rely on me? Yenran looked at his smiling eyebrows and eyes, and her heart was moved, but her mouth gently scolded. Your mouth is sweeter than honey. How many years have you practiced the skill of coaxing girls? Tell me, how old are you this year? Yenran, can we not talk about this? Chow Zhao avoided answering. I picked an anklet for you today. After saying that, Chow Zhao picked up a very exquisite jewelry box from the table. When he opened it, there was an exquisite and unique anklet inside. It wasn't particularly expensive. It was a thin silver chain that glowed with a silvery white luster. A few jade stones were inlaid on the chain itself. A small totem hung on the side as a tassel. It was so beautiful and exquisite. Yenran picked it up and looked at it. She wanted to wear it on her hand. Chow Zhao snatched it away. Yenran, this is to wear on your feet. Yenran snatched it back. I know. I'll wear it on my hand to see the effect. What effect will that have? You must wear it on your ankle. I'll help you wear it. Xiao Xiao carried Yenran to the sofa. He picked up her leg from the ground and put it on his lap. Before Yenran had time to object, her ankle was lifted up by Xiao Xiao and her socks were taken off by him. A pair of snow-white slender jade feet were exposed in front of Xiao Xiao. Yenran's feet were beautiful and curvy. Her wrists and ankles were moderately fat and thin. They were beautiful and natural. Her nails were round and neatly trimmed. The arch of her feet was light and delicate. At this time, Xiao Xiao was holding them with one hand. Xiao Xiao felt that this pair of jade feet were King beautiful. The size was just right in his hand. He simply held one in each hand and played with it in the palm of his hand. Yenran was a little anxious the moment Xiao Xiao took off her socks. Her face instantly turned red. Xiao Xiao, stop. I haven't washed my feet yet. They're dirty. Xiao Xiao didn't care about Yenran at all. She hugged Yenran's feet and admired them from head to toe. Then she said, Yenran, your feet are really beautiful. Yenran was unhappy. She wanted to pull back immediately, but Xiao Xiao held her down. Why would I think you're dirty? Sit down. I'll put them on for you. Xiao Xiao was no longer naughty. He put the anklet on her delicate left ankle. The leg from calf to ankle was set off by the anklet. It was as if it was stuck in the golden section, making her ankle look more beautiful and sexy. The more Xiao Xiao looked, the more proud he became. Yenran, you have good taste, don't you? They're really beautiful. Yenran had heard of the old legend. If a boyfriend or husband helped a girl put on an anklet, or if a girlfriend or wife helped her husband put on an anklet, they would meet him or her again in their next life. They would find that girl or boy. She looked at the anklet on her feet and her face turned even redder. Xiao Xiao was even more exaggerated. He took out his phone and took pictures of her slender feet from front to back, left and right. He said that he wanted to remember this beautiful moment. Yenran couldn't persuade him. She could only stand there and let him take pictures. In the last picture, Xiao Xiao was holding his face with her feet. Click. He froze the picture. Xiao Xiao was most satisfied with this picture. He directly set it as his screensaver. Yenran only realized this later. Wasn't this a little? However, Xiao Xiao had already finished taking pictures. He was enjoying it alone. Yenran didn't know whether to sit or stand. Her leg was pressed down by Xiao Xiao. She felt strange and awkward. She kicked Xiao Xiao with her foot. Let go of me. I'm going to come down. Xiao Xiao threw away his phone and hugged Yenran's foot. He put on a bitter face and said to Yenran, Yenran, I've been an ascetic monk for half a year. Do you think you can lift the band today? Yenran was confused. What ascetic monk? Xiao Xiao pointed at her own mouth and pouted in grievance. Then, she pointed at Yenran's mouth. Yenran immediately understood what he meant. She stuttered, I still have to refine pills today. Xiao Xiao stared at her like this. His eyes became deeper and deeper, and his hands began to move. He held her feet in his hands and gently scratched the soles of her feet with his fingers. The itchy feeling immediately reflected into Yenran's brain. A series of bell-like laughter came out of Yenran's mouth. She laughed so hard that she trembled. Her feet kept kicking, trying to escape from Xiao Zhao's fingers. Xiao Zhao's playfulness was aroused. He used his fingers to press Yenran down on the sofa and desperately scratched her feet. Yenran saw that she couldn't break free, so she sat up and began to scratch Xiao Zhao's waist. The two of them were in a mess on the sofa. In the end, no one knew who pinned the other down, and no one knew who took the initiative. A wolf that had been hungry for half a year finally ate the little lamb until there was nothing left. Aran's voice was endless. Xiao, Zhao's response was endless. The moonlight outside the window had already hidden in the clouds shyly. The sound of the wind seemed to be much weaker. The swaying of the branches couldn't cover the rapid breathing of the two people in the window. The two people didn't know when they rolled from the sofa to the ground, and then from the ground to the bed. The things in the room were accidentally swept to the ground by someone's hands and feet, and then they were squashed by the two people. They lay on the ground in a mess and looked at the culprit with grievance. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming had already sat cross-legged in the bracelet. They covered their heads with everything available, plugged their ears, and kept chanting the mind-clearing mantra. The two of them didn't know how long they were tormenting each other. Qiao Xiao suddenly jumped up from Yanran's body and rushed into the bathroom. Then, the sound of running water could be heard. Yanran gradually woke up. Looking at the mess on the floor, she looked at her body in hindsight. Her coat had been torn open and hung messily on her body. Her white skin was dotted with red plum blossoms, as if proudly announcing how intense it was just now. 6 words burst out in Yanran's mind. Dry wood meets fire. She suddenly covered her face and blushed for her boldness just now. She didn't know how this Qiao Xiao seduced her and insisted that she leave a strawberry mark on his neck. She must have been bewitched by the devil's aura. For a moment, she lost her mind and unexpectedly bit his sexy Adam's apple. She didn't expect that that bite would make the devil's crown prince's eyes turn red, and then she was. And then Qiao Xiao rushed into the bathroom. Yanran quickly tidied herself up and picked up her things. She glanced at the still flowing water in the bathroom, straightened her back, and walked stiffly out of the door and returned to her room. When Qiao Xiao returned to normal and walked out of the bathroom, he saw that Yanran was no longer there. He didn't know if he was disappointed or happy. He threw himself on the big bed and spread his limbs wide open. It seemed that Yanran did the right thing. This feeling was too good and too exciting. Every time he gave up halfway, would he really give up one day? Chapter 226. The next morning, Qiao Xiao appeared in the dining room with dark circles under his eyes. As soon as Uncle Wu saw him, he asked, "Young master, what's wrong? Yesterday, Miss Yanran was here. Why couldn't you sleep well? Your dark circles are so heavy." Qiao Xiao said bitterly to Uncle Wu, "Uncle Wu, I'm too miserable now. I can see and touch, but I can't eat. In the end, I have to take a cold shower. Don't you think I'm looking for trouble?" Young master, taking a cold shower is more harmful to your body. You can ask Miss Yanran for help. Although you haven't gotten married yet, but, cough, your innocence doesn't matter. Qiao Xiao spat out a mouthful of porridge. "Uncle Wu, what are you talking about?" "Young master, you're now an adult. In the devil realm, you should have a little prince. As long as you choose Miss Yanran, it's nothing." Speaking of this, Qiao Xiao became interested. "Uncle Wu, do you think I should bring Yanran back to the devil realm when I get married?" "I also want you to go back to the devil realm, but you can't go back before you finish your experience in the human world. You can only get married in the human world. In the human world, men have to be 22 years old and women have to be 20 years old to get married. Young master, you can get married after you graduate from university. Uncle Wu, why don't you think of a way to adjust my and Yanran's age by 2 years? I can't wait. Think of a way. What age adjustment?" Yanran's voice came from the stairs. Qiao Xiao hurriedly went up. "Yanran, I'm discussing our marriage with Uncle Wu to see if we can get married earlier." When Yanran heard this, her face turned red. She pinched Qiao Xiao's waist. "What nonsense are you talking about? We're still young. How can we get married?" Uncle Wu chimed in, "Young master, who can change your age? Don't even think about it. Just wait for another 2 years." Qiao Xiao was unhappy. "Uncle Wu, look at Yanran's dark circles. They're as dark as mine. It's obvious that she didn't sleep well last night. Miss Yanran, I prepared some tortoise jelly this morning. Please have some more." After saying that, Uncle Wu quietly retreated, leaving the space for the two little lovers. "Yanran, did you feel uncomfortable last night?" Qiao Xiao put on a bitter face and gave Yanran a fried egg. Yanran directly fed Qiao Xiao a mouthful of porridge, blocking his mouth. Chow Chow swallowed it in one gulp and continued to mutter bitterly, "I've been suffering for the whole night. It's so bitter. I told you it's not good for your body. You just can't control yourself. Now you know it's hard, right? But Yenran, I'd rather be hard. I don't want to be an ascetic monk." Chow Chow acted shamelessly. "Yenran, I'll help you get rid of the strawberries on your neck. Why is your skin so soft? I just touched it lightly and it left a mark. Okay, hurry up and eat. You don't have to talk about this." He moved closer to Yenran's ear and said, "Just now, Uncle Wu reminded me that taking cold showers is not good for the body. Do you think we should change the method next time?" Yenran saw that he was getting more and more unreliable. She stuffed a big bun into his mouth and said, "We'll talk about it in half a year." Chow Chow widened his beautiful eyes and looked at Yenran in disbelief. His eyes were full of complaints and grievances. He took the bun out of his mouth and said bitterly, "Yenran, doesn't your heart hurt? Aren't you afraid of losing me? I'm a hot-blooded young man. If I'm suffocated, won't you be the one suffering in the future?" Yenran ignored him. "Then, from today onwards, we'll make some mind-clearing pills. You'll take them every day to make your blood boil and your heart as calm as water. What do you think?" Chow Chow immediately turned back to a flattering smile and said, "Half a year is half a year. But we agreed that you'll feed me for half a year." "Well, not only will I feed you, but I'll also make you vomit." "I'm going to vomit." Yenron's face turned red from laughing. Chow Chow put his arms around Yenron's waist and swayed back and forth. He smiled proudly and said, "Yenran, you've been led astray by me. You're almost as fast as the Fuxing ship." After discussing it with Yenran, Chow Chow decided to take a leave of absence from school and focus on the filming of the film. Before he left, he sent a WeChat message to Yi Xuanfei and told her that he wouldn't be at school for half a year. He had 3 requests. First, she wasn't to cause trouble for Yenran. Second, she had to find good herbs for him. Third, she had to be obedient and miss him. When Yi Xuanfei heard that he was leaving in such a hurry, she insisted on seeing him. Chow Chow could only take a selfie at the airport and send it to her. When Yi Xuanfei rushed to the airport, the plane had already taken off. After Yi Xuanfei returned to school, the first thing she did was to check if Yenran was around. When she saw that Yenran was in class, she felt better. Chow Chow didn't ask her or Yenran to send anything. It seemed that he still had a conscience. Unlike Chow Chow and Yenran, Zhouqian Entertainment was dead. Ming Tian hadn't even prepared the list of rare treasures when he received a call from Chow Chow rejecting him. In less than 2 days, the film crew had officially started filming. Zhouqian Entertainment was completely dead. Not only that, he received a call from Yi Xuanfei. "Ming Tian, you're so bold now. You even dare to steal Chow Zhao's scenes. He'll be your boss in the future. Don't try to touch him, or I'll make things difficult for you." Ming Tian was so angry that he smashed his phone. What was going on? He worked so hard for the Eastern aristocratic family, but he didn't expect that there would be someone dragging him down. Now, this path was completely blocked. It seemed that he had to go to the various SARFT headquarters and try to get the backlog of scenes released quickly. Chow Zhao's drama this time was a youth school drama. It was adapted from a real incident, and the filming location was in a relatively backward county high school. It told the story of how Chow Chow transferred to this county high school because of his family's work. There used to be a very powerful gang in the school, and the teachers and students were all afraid of them. One day, a female student was bullied in school and Chow Chow happened to find out. When he stood up for her, the gang in the school targeted him. As a foreign student, Chow Chow was met with setbacks everywhere. However, due to his intelligence and his extraordinary taekwondo skills, he was able to fight against the gang. In the process of fighting against the gang, he encouraged and united a group of righteous students and finally brought the gang to justice. The movie emphasized that the more afraid you were, the more you could let the bad guys get away with it. Only by raising your fists and fighting against the bad guys could you fight for a clear sky. When Chow Chow first saw the script, his blood was boiling. He liked the feeling of being a hero the most. He felt that this was his true character. He was born to be a hero. After living in the human world for so many years, ever since he met the cultivators, he had lived a very sullen life. This time, he could finally hold his head high in a movie. Chow Chow had never acted in a movie before, but the director encouraged him. What I want is to be like a small, invisible person in the entertainment industry. As long as you act well and immerse yourself in the role, you will definitely succeed. The female lead he was partnered with was called Guan Ren. She was a girl who was bullied in school. She looked weak and pure, and made people want to protect her. It had to be said that director Lin's casting standards were quite high. His vision was very sharp. With these two people's looks, as long as their acting skills were good, the movie was already halfway to success. Chow Chow was eloquent, generous, and handsome. As soon as he entered the cast, he was welcomed by everyone. The place they were in was close to the mountains. It was a relatively remote and poor county. It was because of this that school violence was more prevalent in areas where the rule of law was not well publicized. Director Lin also tried his best to make it as realistic as possible. He found a high school with similar conditions to the original novel to shoot. However, the conditions were not too extravagant. Originally, Director Lin was worried that a rich young master like Chow Chow would not be able to adapt. However, ever since Chow Chow had helped the poor in Empress Mountain, he did not find any conditions difficult. Ever since they arrived, there was always a group of idle people in the county surrounding them. There were so many handsome men and beautiful women. It was really pleasing to the eye, especially the one who liked to talk the most. He was even more handsome than the male models on TV. This was the highest praise that the people in the county could think of. His smile and frown could blind your face. Chow Chow did not expect that there were so many fans of his in this county. Later, when he saw those young ladies using the mineral water he used to advertise, he finally understood. It turned out that they all wanted to be his treasures. It just so happened that he had nothing to do today. While sitting on the set and waiting to adjust the equipment, he simply told the members of the cast and crew about his adventure in Empress Mountain. After that, everyone was amazed and instantly felt that the conditions of the place they were living in were too good. Director Lin was all smiles. This Chow Chow was really a treasure. Not only was he not afraid of suffering, but he also increased the endurance of the people around him. Hey, is there really a place like here? Don't tell me you're bragging. At this moment, a voice suddenly came out. Chow Chow turned around to look. It turned out that it was one of the people they hired from the local area to help them carry the air. Uncle, you don't have to believe me. I've personally experienced it. That place is so mysterious. Chow Chow explained to him good-naturedly. If it's true, then you should also remember that we can't go to a certain place at night. I heard that even immortals will be killed if they go there. The man spoke in a serious tone. Director Lin also began to interject. Uncle, don't be an alarmist. We are all young people here. The more mysterious you make it sound, the more interested they will be. When the man saw that even Director Lin did not believe him, he became a little anxious. Director Lin, what I said is true. Don't go there just because you're curious. That is the famous place where immortals are killed. People who go there are all dead. Director Lin looked at him and it did not seem like he was lying. Then tell me what's going on? There's a place in the mountains behind us, they call it the Evil Forest. It's filled with miasma all year round, and anyone who goes in will be poisoned. Some people went in with gas masks out of curiosity, but they never came back. Later, the county directly designated that place as a forbidden area, and no one is allowed to go in. The older generation said that this place used to kill immortals, so it's cursed. Even if you go in again, immortals will be killed. Chapter 227. When Director Lin heard this, he wasn't worried anymore. Uncle, don't worry. Most of our filming will be in the county town. We won't go out. Then, he said to the other crew members, Don't wander around at night out of curiosity. Especially the mountain behind us. Don't think about going there." When Xiao Xiao heard what Director Lin said, his heart skipped a beat. Immortal slaying? Could it be related to the immortal slaying grass? Yi Xuanfei had already brought several batches of herbs from his house, but there was no immortal slaying grass. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but wonder if the Eastern aristocratic families had the immortal slaying grass. On second thought, there was no need for them to refine the antidote for the spiritual transformation pill. He had always wanted to steal the antidote from the Eastern aristocratic families. Was his train of thought wrong from the start? He didn't have time to think too much. The filming soon entered a fast-paced stage. When the filming started, Xiao Xiao realized how difficult it was to be an actor. Every day, the crew members on set just had to adjust the lighting, do the makeup, and move a simple horizontal staircase. Just the contract alone had to be done hundreds of times. Needless to say, the brothers on set who were in charge of the recording were definitely physical work. As the lead actor, Xiao Xiao didn't have it easy either. After all, he had never acted before. Under the director's constant guidance and repetition, his acting skills improved greatly. Later on, he figured out that he had to immerse himself in the character, Zhang Yuan. From Zhang Yuan's point of view, he had to think about his expressions and actions in various situations. Director Lin was indeed very professional. He had high standards for every detail. The curvature of the fingers, the standing posture against the wall, the direction of the eyes, the distance between the two sides when talking to each other, and how to shoot the most lifelike angle of the actor. Xiao Xiao actually had a lot of advantages because he had no blind spots. No matter what makeup he put on, he looked quite good. Moreover, he was born with a hedonistic temperament and a lazy attitude towards everything. He was quite eye-catching among the high school students. As soon as he arrived at school, he attracted the attention of all the girls in the school. One of the girls was also a school bully. This scene with Xiao Xiao was quite exciting. This was the second female lead chosen by the crew. She had the temperament of a big sister in the underworld. She was tall and strong, and her school uniform was never neat. She had the air of a big sister who respected herself. She clashed with Xiao Xiao as soon as they met. The two accidentally bumped into each other's shoulders. The big sister was in a bad mood. She asked her underlings to bring Xiao Xiao over and make him kneel down and apologize. Xiao Xiao came over, but he was not brought over. He was invited over. Xiao Xiao seemed to have become the boss, with a group of underlings following behind him. The big sister was also shocked by Xiao Xiao's style. She originally wanted to show him who was the boss, but she did not expect to be checkmated. The two of them wrestled on the spot, and the big sister lost 10 rounds in a row. Looking at Xiao Xiao's back, the big sister gritted her teeth until they broke. This was the scene. It looked simple, but in order to be exciting, Xiao Xiao's aura was absolutely strong. The second female lead was a young and old actress with a lot of acting experience. She originally thought that it would be difficult for Xiao Xiao to act with Xiao Xiao, but she did not expect that Xiao Xiao would really burst out and lead her forward. When the two of them wrestled, their eyes needed to be murderous. It was quite difficult for an ordinary newcomer to act murderous with her. She was originally prepared for Xiao Xiao to NGs many times, but when they really acted, Xiao Xiao's deep eyes stared at her, cold, empty, and condescending. This made the big sister tremble violently. Immediately, the murderous look in her eyes disappeared, and it was replaced by a kind of fear. Cut. It was the same for more than 10 times in a row. Director Lin was already anxious. He shouted on the set, "Big sister, you're acting as a big sister. Why are you acting like a little white rabbit? You're someone who has acted in so many scenes. Why are you still being led away by Xiao Xiao?" "I'm sorry, director. Xiao Xiao's aura is too strong. I'm a little scared. Let me try one more time." Xiao Xiao touched his nose. Could it be that he overdid it? However, as the prince of the devil world, he was born with a strong aura. Thoughts of destroying the world often floated in his mind. Arm wrestling was nothing. "Xiao Xiao's eyes are very good. You have to hold on. You have to act like a big sister. Director Lin shouted desperately. Big sister, don't look at my eyes. Look at my forehead and think about shooting a hole there. Chow Xiao came up with an idea. Okay, I'll try. The big sister smiled gratefully at Chow Xiao. Let's do it again. If it doesn't work, we'll shoot the next scene. Finally, after not looking at Chow Xiao's eyes, the big sister showed her original strength. She broke out in a cold sweat. It was over. Chow Xiao, you really don't look like a newcomer. Your eyes are too strong. I originally thought you were just a flower vase. Now I really admit defeat. The big sister was completely convinced by Chow Xiao. Big sister, you have to teach me more. I can really learn a lot from acting with you. Chow Xiao said modestly. One scene after another, Chow Xiao's acting skills were constantly sculpted. From morning to night, Chow Xiao had never felt so fulfilled. He even had less time to think about Yanran. In this way, more than 3 months passed unknowingly. The progress of the movie was relatively normal. Nearly 1/3 of the movie had been arranged. Everyone was very tired after working for so long. At the end of the day, Director Lin said that they would take a day off the next day to let everyone take a break. Cheers resounded throughout the set. Chow Xiao, what do you want to do today? The female lead, Guan Wan, came forward and asked with a smile. Me? Go back to the hotel to sleep. I haven't slept in for so many days. Chow Xiao moved his shoulders and casually refused the girl's invitation. Guan Wan was a little disappointed. This Chow Xiao was the hero who saved her in the movie. After more than a month of getting along with him, at first she was shocked by his appearance, then she was infected by his character, and finally, she was attracted by his heroic spirit in the movie. She had already bowed down to him from the bottom of her heart. Once, she inadvertently asked Chow Xiao if he had a girlfriend. Who knew? Chow Xiao directly admitted that he had a goddess. He was henpecked and henpecked. He answered very loudly at that time, and the girls on the set were heartbroken. However, this also helped Chow Xiao reduce a lot of trouble. But there were still some girls who came forward dauntlessly. They sent gifts, flowers, milk tea, and tried to find something to talk about. They always surrounded Chow Xiao. Director Lin jokingly said, on the set, the busiest person is Chow Xiao. No matter if it's related to the movie or not, everyone goes to ask him. They even leave me, the director, aside. As Guan Wan, she had so many scenes with Chow Xiao that she had already immersed herself in her role. She relied on him in the movie, but she couldn't jump out of the movie. Then after you're done sleeping, let's go shopping together, okay? Guan Wan further tried to win him over. You guys go shopping first. When I wake up and have time, I'll find you guys. After saying that, Chow Xiao directly packed his things and went back home. He had very important things to do today. He had wanted to go earlier, but he had been filming until very late, and he had to wake up early the next day. It was rare for him to have a day off, so he couldn't miss it. His Yanran was still waiting for him to go back and refine pills. After returning to the hotel, he began to disguise himself. After wrapping himself up tightly, he directly jumped over the wall from the hotel's back door and went straight to the back of the mountain. Some time ago, he had asked a few local elders one after another about the land of immortal execution in the back of the mountain. He didn't expect that these elders were all afraid. They covered their mouths and didn't dare to say anything. They just told the young man not to ask about it, and not to even ask about it. It was a forbidden area. Well, he couldn't get anything out of them. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming only had a vague feeling. He said that there should be some ancient objects around them. The ancient aura was very strong, but they couldn't sense the specific location. Chow Xiao first went to a firefighting equipment store and bought a gas mask to wear on his body, in case of the miasma that they mentioned. The auntie who was selling things saw Chow Xiao and praised, "Young man, you look very handsome with a gas mask on your face." Chow Xiao followed Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming's senses and walked to the back of the mountain. The two of them only vaguely felt that there was a slightly stronger aura somewhere. They guided Xiao Xiao in that direction, just like a compass. The mountains here were not like the Empress Mountain. Instead, they were continuous mountains. This small town was the only entrance to the bustling outside at the foot of the mountain. Behind the small town were stretches of undulating mountain ranges. Xiao Xiao looked from afar. The weather was gloomy today. The mountain peaks were all hidden in dark clouds, and he couldn't see clearly. How could he find it? There was no direction at all. Which mountain should he go to? Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming were also in a dilemma. Xiao Xiao saw that there was basically no one here, and there were no cars. There wasn't even anyone asking for directions. Xiao Xiao looked around and saw that there was no one around. He activated his devil aura and flew directly into the air. Lush, deep green stacked on top of light green. Like a green painting that was spread out, the whole mountain was painted with a mysterious green color. Xiao Xiao looked around. Among the many green colors, there was one that was the darkest. It formed a dark green vortex in the whole painting. As the vortex continued to spiral inwards, the dark green gradually turned black, and finally became extremely black. Xiao Xiao looked around. Only this place was so special. Whether it was a forbidden area or not, it was worth exploring. Maybe there were other opportunities. Kong Ming, Kong Xiaoming, do you two feel anything? Is there anything unusual about the vortex over there? It's too far away. I can't feel it. You have to get closer. Xiao Xiao looked around again. This was the most special place. He didn't care anymore. He activated his devil aura and flew toward the vortex. Chapter 228. Xiao Xiao quickly flew above the whirlpool like a rock spreading its wings. He thought that it was a visual whirlpool formed by color, but he did not expect to feel a suction force when he was close enough. It was like an invisible hand that wanted to pull Xiao Xiao directly in. Xiao Xiao quickly steadied himself and moved to the side for a moment. At this moment, he barely avoided the big hand that reached out to him, but at the same time, his balance was broken. He simply used his waist to flip backward and along a big tree next to him. His right foot tapped lightly, and his body shot out and moved to a big tree in front of him on the left. He stretched out his left foot and stepped lightly on the tree. He somersaulted in the air like a nimble sparrow and stopped on the crown of a taller tree. At this time, Xiao Xiao could finally focus his eyes and observe. He had already come to the edge of the black whirlpool. At this time, when he took a closer look, he was shocked. The trees here were particularly lush, and all of them were crowded together. They were all competing with each other for that little space. Some of the branches were broken, and it looked like they had gone through a great battle. It was unknown whether they were broken by someone or bent by the trees next to them. Fortunately, Xiao Xiao landed on the top of the tree. If he fell directly on the ground, there would not even be a place to land. This was a space completely enveloped by trees. Xiao Xiao wondered if a ray of sunlight could penetrate through these crisscrossing branches. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming said at this time, "It should be here. The ancient aura here is quite strong." This whirlpool was about 10 miles in radius. No one knew what was under the whirlpool. Xiao Xiao channeled a trace of devil qi and drew a circle in the area covered by some branches and leaves. The sun shone in, but in an instant, the branches moved on their own and quickly filled the hole that Xiao Xiao had created with the growth of branches and leaves. F***ck, it had completely turned into a demon. Xiao Xiao amplified his magic. He didn't believe that you could fill a small hole. "I'll make a pool for you. Let's see where you can fill it." A surge of power surged towards this vortex, and only the sound of branches breaking could be heard from all directions. Xiao Xiao looked at the situation he had created with satisfaction, and a large gap was revealed. Sunlight shone in, and at the moment when the black and white light intersected, two large blood-red eyes emitted a beast-like radiance and shot fiercely at Xiao Xiao. At this moment, Xiao Xiao thought that he was hallucinating. The broken branches quickly grew back, and in a few seconds, the whirlpool that had been damaged to the size of a pool was restored to its original state. F***ck. Xiao Xiao, I sense great danger. Did you see a pair of eyes just now? That's the aura of an ancient mythological beast. Kong Ming suddenly warned in the bracelet. Just as his voice fell, the leaves and branches in the black whirlpool suddenly moved, as if they had heard the order of thousands of soldiers and horses. They roared and attacked Xiao Xiao. The sharp branches were their spears, and the leaves were their blades. Although they didn't have aggressive eyes, their imposing manner and indestructible sharpness caught Xiao Xiao off guard. Xiao Xiao quickly made a guard seal to protect his body. His body pulled up from the trunk and flew into the air. But the speed of the branches and leaves was several times faster than him. Just as he got up, he felt that his body was pierced by countless holes. F***CK, fortunately I made a seal, otherwise I would have turned into a hornet's nest. But sadly, Xiao Xiao was immediately entangled by some vines. His seal was useless, and he was quickly pulled down. He was about to be pulled into the depths of the black whirlpool. Kong Ming shouted in the bracelet, "Xiao Xiao, you can't go in. There's a formation inside." Xiao Xiao quickly reacted. He didn't want to be trapped for another 2 years. Where would he go to see his Yanran? He quickly made a flame seal, and the crazy flame quickly burned his surroundings. These vines, branches, and leaves met their natural enemy, and quickly retreated in fear. All the bindings on Xiao Xiao's body were released, and he was about to fall into a black hole that suddenly opened up. At this critical moment, Xiao Xiao used his mana to attack. He stretched out his extended right hand, grabbed a vine that was about to escape, and quickly threw it to the ground like a whip. The whip hit the other branches on the ground, making a loud whipping sound. And Xiao Xiao used this force to quickly roll back to the canopy where he was originally resting. Xiao Xiao's heart still had a lingering fear. He didn't expect this place to be so strange. All the trees that had turned into spirits attacked him with bared fangs and brandished claws, just like the devils in the demon realm. They laughed wildly, and their ferocious faces wanted to tear him apart. "Xiao Xiao, you're really lucky. If you accidentally fell in just now, with the formation and the ancient divine beasts, I reckon you won't be able to get out for 8 to 10 years. Xiao Xiao's face was so serious for the first time. Previously, when he was trapped by the yin-yang formation, he could still laugh and curse, but now he didn't know how to deal with it. "What do you think if I directly burn this whirlpool?" Xiao Xiao stared at the black area, and a black whirlpool appeared in the bottom of his eyes. "This is a forest fire. Wouldn't it be bad? Would Yanran blame you?" Xiao Xiao's mind was pulled back by the 2 words Yanran. He relaxed again and said with a ruffian smile, "Am I such a person who doesn't like to protect the environment? But Xiao Xiao, you came here to look for the immortal execution grass. Are you sure that the immortal execution grass is here?" "How can I be sure? Didn't I just hear the old people in the county mumble a sentence? I'm just here to try my luck. Furthermore, I've only seen the appearance of the immortal execution grass in books. If it's really placed in front of me, I won't be able to recognize it." Xiao Xiao casually plucked a leaf from the big tree next to him and put it in his mouth, wanting to blow out some rhythm to relieve his nervous mood. Suddenly, the branches and leaves below opened up from the middle, and a huge monster's head slowly rose from the middle. Xiao Xiao was stunned. How can this monster have such big eyes and mouth? The monster opened its mouth that was several times bigger than the saber-toothed dragon's and suddenly spat out a mouthful of flames. The flames rose from the bottom and quickly engulfed the tree Xiao Xiao was on. F***CK, Xiao Xiao had just put the leaf in his mouth when he quickly spat it out. Again. "It's not that I don't care about the environment. It's that monster who took the initiative to burn the mountain. It has nothing to do with me. I think it has its eyes on you. Before you figure out the situation, you should hurry up and run." Kong Xiaoming shouted from the bracelet. Xiao Xiao thought about it and agreed. He had accidentally provoked such a monster, and he didn't know if he could defeat it. Although he had made seals all over his body, the surrounding flames could burn the entire mountain if he wasn't careful. Xiao Xiao made up his mind and quickly flipped backward a few times. At the same time, he quickly whipped the whip that he had just grabbed onto towards the monster's head. However, The vine seemed to have grown eyes. As if it had seen its master, it automatically twisted its body in the air and turned back to continue attacking Xiao Xiao. F***ck. It's so tenacious. Xiao Xiao simply threw away the vine and used riding the wind to directly burn the monster. The fire followed the wind, and the wind helped the fire to grow stronger. In an instant, the entire area was burning. Xiao Xiao saw that it was getting more and more out of control. He touched his nose. What should I do? Should I just retreat like this? If you don't retreat, what will you do? Are you really going to be trapped here? I see that the formation has begun to extend outwards. Run. Xiao Xiao didn't dare to delay any longer. He directly raised his devil chi to the extreme and quickly ran out of the mountain. The roar of the monster behind him didn't follow. It seemed that its hands and feet were bound, or it just wanted to drive Xiao Xiao out of here. When Xiao Xiao reached the foot of the mountain, he looked back. To his surprise, the fire on the mountain didn't spread much. He flew into the air and saw that the flames only stopped in a small area above the whirlpool. The whirlpool had begun to rotate on its own. The burned branches, leaves, and the remaining flames were all sucked into the whirlpool. Xiao Xiao touched his nose and said, "It seems that this monster is quite environmentally conscious. It has already cleaned up the battlefield." Kong Xiaoming rolled his eyes. "Nonsense, that's his home. Where can he stay if his home is destroyed?" "Kong Xiaoming, you are becoming more and more disrespectful to your master. Believe it or not, I will directly throw you into this whirlpool next time." "When did you become my master?" Kong Xiaoming asked unconvinced. "I am Kong Ming's master. You are his son. Am I not your master?" Kong Xiaoming asked Kong Ming for confirmation. Kong Ming nodded. "Yes, he is my master." Kong Xiaoming instantly went berserk. "I say, can't you find a more powerful person to be our master? If you can't even beat a mythological beast, won't it be embarrassing to say that you are my master?" Xiao Xiao wanted to strangle him. "Who said I can't beat him? I didn't fight with him. If I accidentally destroyed the whole mountain, this Yen Ran will blame me. Next time I bring the totem, I will catch him in an array and beat him until he starts to doubt his life." Kong Xiaoming directly refuted him. "You just want to find an excuse to go back to Yen Ran. You haven't seen him for a month, but it feels like 3 years. I say, Kong Xiaoming, what kind of gunpowder did you eat today? Why are you always going against me?" Who knew that Kong Xiaoming suddenly pursed his mouth and cried, "Why do I suddenly feel that the mythological beast just now is familiar? I always feel a little sad." Kong Ming felt strange. "You, a book spirit, can feel sad? The only thing related to you is the author. Could it be that your book was written by that mythological beast? How is that possible? How can that monster-like guy write a book? He probably doesn't even know how to read." Xiao Xiao finally reacted. "After all this time, you are in a bad mood. Forget it, I will forgive you. The monster you are talking about definitely can't write a book. I guess it is the legend in this book. Didn't you kill an immortal? Could it be that the immortal wrote your invincible book?" Chapter 229. Kong Xiaoming was still sobbing. "Maybe my author was really killed by immortal execution. I'm so sad." Xiao Xiao was no longer angry at him. "Kong Xiaoming, don't be sad. If that's the case, then that mythical beast is still the one that protects your master. You should feel comforted. Even if your master is dead, didn't you pass down his spiritual power to me? Then according to what you said, he is my master." Xiao Xiao directly bowed towards the mountain at the foot of the mountain. "Kong Xiaoming, let me pay my respects to your master on your behalf. Regardless of whether the immortal extermination grass is here or not, it can be considered that we are fated to meet." "Thank you, Xiao Xiao. From now on, I'll treat you as my real master. I don't have an author anymore. From now on, I'll rely on you and Kong Ming. Don't say anything about throwing me away again." After saying that, he started sobbing again. "All right, Kong Xiaoming, don't cry. You and Kong Ming have long been my life and death partners. From now on, Yen Ran and I will bring you guys to explore the world together. Alright. Xiao Xiao, I only have one request. In the future, can you not let us watch the interactive scenes between you and Yen Ran? Every time we see it, we get anxious and have to practice the clear heart incantation. It's too torturous. Xiao Zhao's originally brewing sadness and reverence for Invincible's author were instantly shattered. He gritted his teeth. Kong Xiaoming, can't you say something serious? After Xiao Xiao returned to the hotel, he realized that the gas mask he brought was gone. It was probably left at the scene of the whirlpool. However, he didn't feel any miasma, so it was probably at the periphery. He called Yen Ran and harassed her with 360-degree words of love. He made Yen Ran kiss him through the phone. After achieving his goal, Xiao Xiao told her what happened. Yen Ran didn't say anything after hearing it. She just told him not to act rashly and that she would do some research first. In the end, before Xiao Xiao hung up the phone, he said to Yen Ran, there's less than 3 months until the date you promised me. Don't forget. Yen Ran didn't react. Under Xiao Zhao's subtle reminder, she finally scolded, pervert. She hung up the phone. However, Xiao Xiao thought that he heard shyness and expectation in those 2 words. He happily rolled onto the bed, pulled the quilt, and began to catch up on sleep. After the first test, Xiao Xiao went back to filming. His days were quite fulfilling. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Xiao Xiao went to the land of immortal execution several times to take a look, but he didn't find anything. Every time he stared at the mythical beast for a while, he came back. Xiao Xiao directly asked for leave for the final exam. Seeing that the movie was finally coming to an end, today's scene was a fight scene between him and a dozen people. He saved the heroine and took her away from the violent scene, so he suffered the revenge of a group of people. This group of people had been following Xiao Xiao several times, but they couldn't find a chance to attack. They simply sent a follower to follow Xiao Xiao and report to them where Xiao Xiao was. As long as they saw Xiao Xiao alone, they would immediately call someone to stop him. And today was the same. As soon as Xiao Xiao walked out of the school and into an alley, a dozen people surrounded him. Each of them had a sinister smile on their faces and were beating sticks and iron rods in their hands. At first glance, it was obvious that they wanted to teach Xiao Xiao a lesson. Previously, Director Lin asked if he wanted to use a stunt double, but Xiao Xiao directly refused. He said that he could fight. The martial arts director came up and prepared to teach Xiao Xiao a few moves. However, before he could finish the demonstration, Xiao Xiao had already performed more moves freely. Great, one look and you could tell that he had practiced before. The director's request was, you are not allowed to hurt people, but your punches must be strong. At the director's command, a dozen people rushed toward Xiao Xiao with sticks and rods. Xiao Xiao saw that his path was blocked, so the only way was to go forward. His eyes burst with a bloodthirsty light. He swung his school bag in his hands and fought with the dozen people. He quickly snatched a stick from a person's hand and leaned back to block the other 2 sticks coming from behind. Then, he stretched out his long leg and kicked the person in front of him away. Before the person next to him could find a chance to attack, he kicked the gangster behind him and sent him flying. The people at the scene watched with relish. The martial arts choreography was so wonderful that it made the onlookers' blood boil. Xiao Zhao's legs were straight and her waist was slender. With a few high chops, she gave off the impression that her legs were 1.8 meters long. Coupled with her cold expression, the young ladies around her felt their hormones rush to their heads. Originally, the director was afraid that the scene would not be good, but he did not expect that in the midst of the chaos, Xiao Xiao alone would take the lead. Whether it was from a distance or close up, the shooting was perfect. Good pass. The director laughed. I originally expected that today's scene would take a whole day, but I didn't expect you to pass it in 1 take. Good. Let's try to wrap up early today. Everyone, do your best. The next scene was when Xiao Xiao won a great victory. The female lead that he rescued was suddenly caught by this group of people. They forced Xiao Xiao to stop, but Xiao Xiao could only stop. At this time, a few sticks came up and directly knocked Xiao Xiao to the ground. He could not resist and could only protect his head. In the end, he was beaten until he was covered in blood. When the shooting really began, the female lead, Guan Ren, was in a sorry state. Her hair was messy and her school bag was long gone. She was escorted by 2 gangsters. When she saw Xiao Xiao fighting with a group of people, she shouted, "Jiang Yuan, save me." At the same time, another voice rang out. "Jiang Yuan, stop. Otherwise, the little girlfriend you're protecting won't have a good ending today." It was the school bully. After saying that, he pulled down the collar of Guan Qing's uniform. When Jiang Yuan saw this scene in the movie, he shouted to stop. Everyone stopped. Jiang Yuan threw the school bag in his hand to the ground. His messy hair flew because of the fight. His eyes were sharp and he said fiercely, "What do you want?" The school bully sneered. "What else can we do? You broke the school's rules as soon as you came. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't even know that I exist in this school. You are so arrogant. Doesn't the school care?" The people beside him laughed. The school bully laughed so hard that tears flowed out of his eyes. "The school is under my control. Don't you know this? What do you want to do to stop?" The school bully said with a smile, "Just let us beat you up and vent our anger." Jiang Yuan had no choice but to stop, and the hooligans who had been beaten by him to the point where they couldn't fight back saw this opportunity to take revenge. They hit Jiang Yuan directly with their sticks, and Jiang Yuan had no choice but to hold his head with both hands and roll on the ground in pain. Soon, his entire body was covered in wounds, and the female lead, Guan Ren, struggled to break free from the suppression of the 2 people, but she didn't succeed. She saw Xiao Xiao covered in blood, and she screamed at the top of her lungs, "Jiang Yuan, run, don't worry about me." Tears of sadness had already fallen from her eyes. Although the people around them knew that this was a movie, they were moved by the real acting skills of the female lead and the male lead. Xiao Xiao, who was in high spirits just now, was knocked to the ground. No one said a word. Some girls even grabbed the clothes on their chests in fear, as if they were holding on to their hearts. They were afraid that something would happen to this young man who had already occupied their hearts. Cut. Guan Ren, your expression was too ferocious just now. Pay attention to your expression management. You have to cry beautifully. Do it again. The makeup artist quickly went forward to change Xiao Xiao's clothes. Xiao Xiao thought, "Forget it. I was beaten for nothing just now. Although it's a movie, in order to pursue the real effect, I still took a few hits." He couldn't release the guard seal, so he could only go back and heal himself. It was this scene that was shot more than 10 times. It was either Guan Ren's expression or the mistakes of the school bully and the hooligans next to him. In the end, the director roared, "Don't be so fake. You have to look like you're fighting. Learn from Xiao Zhao's scene just now. You have to have eyes. You have to have murderous intent. Don't give me flowery moves. You have to cry realistically. Don't you feel sad when you see Xiao Xiao being beaten so badly?" The others in this scene were fine, but Xiao Xiao was the most miserable. At first, the blood bags on his body were still coming out one by one. Later, Xiao Xiao felt uncomfortable all over because of the sticky feeling. Finally, when he was about to go berserk, it was over. The director was also very tired. "That's it for today. Everyone go back and adjust. We'll continue tomorrow." Finally, it was over. Xiao Xiao got up from the ground. Looking at himself dirty, covered in dust and blood, he shook his head with a bitter smile. He had just walked into the dressing room and was about to clean up when a cold girl suddenly squeezed out from the crowd. She quickly followed Xiao Xiao into the dressing room. Then, she pulled Xiao Xiao up and down nervously, checking if there was anything wrong with him. Jing Shu saw that there was actually a fan harassing her boss. The protective mother fan immediately came forward. Just as she was about to pull this annoying female fan away, she saw her boss suddenly grin and hug the fan in front of her. She spun 3 times on the spot and kept calling Yenran, Yenran. Jing Shu stopped abruptly. So this was Yen Ran, the goddess in her boss's heart. She quickly pulled Xiao Xiaoyun aside. Before Xiao Xiaoyun could greet Yen Ran, she was pulled out of the dressing room by Jing Shu, leaving the two of them alone. Yen Ran looked at Xiao Xiao, who was in such a sorry state, and felt sorry for her. I just saw you being hit by others. Did you really get hit? Does it hurt? Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes and quickly complained, I didn't feel it just now. Now that you mention it, I feel like my whole body hurts. Yen Ran, quickly rub it for me. Then, he pulled Yen Ran's hand to his waist. Yen Ran believed him. Quick, let me see if it's serious. Xiao Xiao was proud. He pulled open the clothes around his waist, exposing his delicate and strong waist to Yen Ran. He grabbed Yen Ran's hand and rubbed his waist. Yen Ran looked at it for a long time. It was smooth and white. There wasn't even a mark. No, is it because they didn't hit here? I saw them hit your back a few times. Xiao Xiao was even happier. In his heart, seducing Yen Ran would always be the first. Chapter 230. Yes, Yen Ran, my back hurts too. Xiao Xiao simply took off his costume that was stained with blood and turned around to show Yen Ran his inverted triangular back. Yen Ran took a closer look and saw that there were indeed several red marks on his back. She was just about to raise her hand and habitually heal Xiao Xiao when she suddenly remembered that she had no spiritual power left. She embarrassedly withdrew her hand and said to Xiao Xiao with embarrassment, Xiao Xiao, you should find a way to heal yourself. I don't have any spiritual power now, so I can't help you. Xiao Xiao immediately said to Yen Ran with a bitter face, Yen Ran, just blow on it for me. So Yen Ran pursed her lips and blew on the red marks on his back. The warm air was like a gentle little hand that swept across Xiao Xiao's back. Xiao Xiao exaggeratedly shouted, comfortable. Yen Ran then realized something and looked at Xiao Xiao's sexy upper body in front of her. She slapped Xiao Xiao's back and said, Are you really in pain or are you faking it? Xiao Xiao exaggeratedly shouted, It really hurts, Yen Ran, be gentle. Jing Shu, who was at the door, was shocked when she heard this. She immediately knocked on the door and asked, Boss, what happened? Do you need help? The two heard the knock on the door and were obviously a little flustered. Yen Ran picked up the clothes and was about to put them on Xiao Xiao, but Xiao Xiao pulled Yen Ran closer to his chest. They both replied in unison, It's okay. Xiao Xiao hugged Yen Ran and felt the warmth of the moment. He rubbed his face against Yen Ran's cheek and said, Yen Ran, did you miss me? Yen Ran hugged his waist and leaned on his chest, then nodded slightly. Xiao Xiao lowered his head and kissed her face lightly. Yen Ran, how was my acting just now? Your acting was superb, your movements were on point, and your eyes were sharp. I just felt a little distressed when I saw others hit you. I felt so good when you hit others at the beginning. Soon, you will be a big star. Yen Ran, I haven't seen you for more than a month. How did your little mouth become so sweet? Let me have a taste. Yen Ran smiled and dodged. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. At this moment, the two people were like a sugar jar was overturned, so sweet that their whole bodies were melting. At this moment, there was no bottom line. Yen Ran, how is my body? Does it make your heart beat faster? Do you want to kiss and lick it? How is the taste? Yen Ran saw that he was becoming more and more unreliable, so she directly put the clothes on his head. Let's go, what nonsense are you talking about? Xiao Xiao quickly put on the clothes. Yen Ran, do you mean to go back to the hotel? Oh yeah. I also think it's not convenient here. After that, he quickly pulled Yen Ran away from everyone's sight. Jing Shu chased after them. Boss, don't run around, don't be photographed. Xiao Zhao's voice floated from afar. Don't worry, we are in the hotel. Back in the hotel room, as soon as the door closed, Xiao Xiao couldn't wait to push Yen Ran behind the door. Then, the kiss that he had missed for more than 3 months was about to come. Yenran quickly covered his mouth and blushed. Wait, why are you in such a hurry? Chow Xiao simply picked her up, turned around, and the two fell on the big bed in the room. Yenran was anxious. She quickly pushed him away and propped herself up. Chow Xiao, wait a minute. Listen to me, I'm here for something. Even if it's a big thing, let's put it aside first. Don't worry, I'm tall. Even if the sky falls, I'll hold it up. After saying that, Yenran's mouth was blocked. She struggled and whimpered. After a while, she was lost in Chow Xiao's crazy attack. The two of them kissed until the sun went down. It was not until the curtain of the night fell that someone's stomach growled and pulled the two of them back from the edge of madness. Yenran looked at the mess on the floor and then looked at the few pieces of clothing left on her body. Chow Xiao had already taken a cold shower in the bathroom for half an hour. She had a headache. She didn't come for this at all. As soon as the bathroom door opened, Chow Xiao came out wrapped in a bath towel. His hair was wet, and drops of water kept dripping down. They slid down his slender white jade-like neck to his shoulder and accumulated a small water stain. Then, along his sexy chest, across his tight waistline, and hid in the bath towel. He walked to the bedside, and the cold air from his body drifted over. Yenran had already pulled the quilt to cover herself. At this time, she was blushing and didn't dare to look at him. Chow Xiao lifted the quilt and got in. He hugged Yenran from behind and said in a hoarse voice, "Yenran, you are so good." Yenran lowered her head and said coquettishly, "You rogue, you said you would hold back. Why can't you hold back?" "Yenran, I have no self-control in front of you." After that, his hands and feet began to move. "Stop. Sit on the chair. Don't make any more trouble. We have something to do tonight." Chow Xiao didn't want to get up from the warm quilt. He hugged Yenran and said coquettishly, "Yenran, I promise I won't make any more trouble. I don't want to leave you." Yenran was anxious. "Then what do you mean? Why can't I say it?" "You say it. I'll listen. I can only hear it clearly when I'm close." Yenran slapped away Chow Xiao's messy hands. She wrapped herself in the quilt and moved to the chair. Then, she cleared her throat. "Okay, you are not allowed to follow me. Otherwise, I will leave immediately." Chow Xiao didn't dare to move. It wasn't easy to see Yenran. How could he leave just like that? He could only obediently lean against the headboard. He didn't even cover himself with the quilt and just threw flirtatious glances at Yenran. Yenran ignored him and organized her thoughts. "I came here today because of the immortal execution grass. Last time, you told me about the strange phenomenon here. After I went back, I asked grandfather about it. I also checked some ancient books. It is very likely that the immortal execution grass is at the place you mentioned." Chow Xiao perked up when she heard that. "Really? That's great. Then there's hope for your spiritual power to recover." Yenran said again, "Grandfather said that it is only possible that it is here. Legend has it that an ancient immortal was framed and killed. However, he was wronged and refused to go to the chaotic world. Thus, he turned into a stalk of immortal grass and was named the immortal execution grass." Yenran continued, "It is said that this immortal was quite amazing. He wrote a book about the world's #1 martial art. The book was called Invincible. Kong Xiaoming in the bracelet was the first to jump up. Chow Xiao, am I right? He is my author. I felt it very strongly at that time." After saying that, Kong Xiaoming started to cry again. F***CK, there really is such a thing. "Yenran, do you know? The book spirit I took in, Kong Xiaoming, is Invincible's book spirit. The martial art I learned is the world's #1 invincible." "Is that true? If that is the case, then Chow Xiao, you really are fated to be with him. Moreover, it is said that this immortal was originally from the demon realm. For some reason, he became an immortal. Because of his original identity, he was ostracized by others in the immortal realm. Thus, he suffered a great injustice and was directly kicked off the immortal execution platform. Could it be that after he fell off the immortal execution platform, he landed in this mountain range? And his guardian divine beast had set up a formation to protect him all this time? That is really a sentimental and righteous divine beast. Qiao Xiao thought of the scene that day. That divine beast's huge green eyes still made him feel a lingering fear. That is why I came here personally to give this totem to you. If you want to break his formation, you must have this totem. Then if this legend is true, then wouldn't we have to defeat that demonic beast to get the immortal execution grass? Moreover, wouldn't this be disrespectful to this ancestor? At this time, Kong Xiaoming said, "My author actually wants to take revenge and wash away his grievances, not to be a nobody and just want to be a weed. If Yanran can help him fulfill his wish, then I think it would be what he wants to see the most." Qiao Xiao relayed Kong Xiaoming's words to Yanran. Yanran nodded and said, "This is actually what the immortal needs the most." It is said that he was a righteous person, but in the end, he fell into the unorthodox path. He mistakenly took a poisonous pill and did something irreversible. What a pity. Why is there always some bad people in this world who use despicable methods to harm others? I hate this kind of people the most. If you have the ability, then come at me openly. Qiao Xiao gnashed his teeth in hatred. Yanran glanced at Qiao Xiao and said, "You, the prince of the demon world, are actually so righteous? Are you really from the demon world?" There are good and bad people in the demon world. Apart from the fact that the demon world prefers freedom and worships martial arts, the rest of the people are very good. In fact, we also hate those unorthodox methods the most. Yanran, do you know? This is our three views are the same. Why do you think I fell in love with Yi Xuanfei? Apart from liking my appearance, she only has a vicious heart. The Eastern aristocratic family is not a good person from top to bottom. Perhaps this immortal was harmed by the ancestors of the Eastern aristocratic family. Yanran was unhappy when she heard him mention Yi Xuanfei. In the past few months when you weren't around, Yi Xuanfei became much more honest. But she would often show off the photos you took with her in front of me. Qiao Zhao's heart skipped a beat. He thought about how many photos he had taken with Yi Xuanfei. It seemed like 123. Oh no, there were several. He hurriedly explained, "Yanran, that was all for the sake of acting. Don't take it seriously. Look at how good my acting is now. It was all because of her." Yanran glared at him fiercely. "There was one where she was sitting in your arms and her head was leaning on your chest. Was that also an act?" Qiao Xiao tried his best to recall. It seemed like there was one time when he treated her to a meal and she insisted on sitting on him. Qiao Xiao was so anxious that he broke out in cold sweat. He got off the bed and squeezed into Yanran's chair. He hugged her and said, "I swear, she definitely did it on purpose that time. Yanran, if I don't sacrifice myself, we won't be able to cheat the cauldron." Yanran turned her head and snorted. There was another photo where she was only wearing a nightgown that reached her thighs. She was leaning on your body. Qiao Xiao hurriedly denied. "Never. I don't remember this photo at all. She definitely took it secretly." Qiao Xiao saw that he couldn't let Yanran continue. He hurriedly swore. "Yanran, it was all an act. You have to believe me. I only have you in my heart. Moreover, your figure is much better than hers. Also, Yanran, it's been 6 months. You have to keep your promise to me." After saying that, this shameless prince of the devil world began to fan the flames everywhere. The night was still young. Yanran's original plan of going out at night was completely extinguished by Qiao Xiao. Chapter 231. When the first ray of sunlight shone through the thick curtains and onto a messy bed, a woman was incomparably beautiful. Her small face was rosy, emitting an alluring and healthy glow. At this moment, she was sleeping soundly. Her pink and tender lips were currently red and swollen. Along with her shallow breathing, her lips were unconsciously half closed. The blanket only covered her chest, leaving her smooth and fragrant shoulders exposed. Behind her, Only half of the noble and handsome face could be seen. He was also sleeping soundly, his mouth pressed against the girl's neck in front of him. From time to time, he would unconsciously squirm up and down, as if he was still tasting delicious jelly in his sleep. This was Qiao Xiao and Yen Ran, who had been fooling around all night. It was only at dawn, when the sky gradually brightened, that the two fell into a deep sleep. Last night, Qiao Xiao had enjoyed a sumptuous meal. Not only was he full, he even vomited in the end. In the end, Qiao Xiao shamelessly said to Yen Ran, my chastity is gone. You have to take responsibility for me. Yen Ran wiped her sticky hands all over Qiao Xiao's face. In the end, this shameless guy grabbed her fingers and stuffed them into Yen Ran's mouth. He seduced her with his devilish gaze and bewitched her. It's delicious. Come, be good. Yen Ran was unconsciously led astray at that time. Yen Ran's biological clock rang on time. She unconsciously moved, showing signs of waking up. Qiao Xiao was still sleeping soundly behind her. Disturbed by the movement, he muttered, Ran, sleep a little longer. After saying that, one hand slipped through the gap between Yen Ran's waist, while the other hand directly hugged over the top of the blanket. His body arched forward, tightly sticking to Yen Ran's back. Qiao Xiao snorted in satisfaction. Yen Ran seemed to be comforted and fell into a deep sleep again. The next time the two of them woke up, they were woken up by banging on the door. They heard Jing Shu shouting at the door, Boss, boss. Qiao Xiao, who was sleeping soundly, was annoyed by the knocking. He grabbed the cushion on the bed and threw it at the door. With a bang, the knocking stopped. Jing Shu was probably shocked. Then, she heard Jing Shu carefully ask, Do you need to take leave today? Qiao Xiao shouted towards the door, Apply for leave. Finally, the world was quiet, and Yen Ran, who was in his arms, was woken up. She rubbed her sleepy eyes, and before she realized where she was, she saw Qiao Xiao's face in front of her, and then a lingering morning kiss began. Qiao Xiao, who had just woken up, was the most annoying. He pestered Yen Ran for a long time. In the end, he directly carried Yen Ran to take a shower. By the time the two of them were ready, it was already afternoon. Yen Ran looked at Qiao Xiao's hooligan face, which angered both men and gods. His face was full of satisfaction, like a cat that had succeeded in stealing a fish. He played with Yen Ran's soft fingers and laughed incomparably lewdly. Yen Ran blushed. Thinking about how Qiao Xiao had bewitched her last night, she wanted to dig a hole and bury herself. After she squinted and licked her fingers, a seductive look flew into Qiao Xiao's eyes. Qiao Xiao's body trembled with excitement, and he couldn't stop shouting, Ran, Ran. Later on, Qiao Xiao was so crazy that it was as if he was going to break her bones and devour her. Qiao Xiao proudly bragged in front of her, Yen Ran, my self-control last night was good, wasn't it? Although my chastity is gone, your chastity is completely protected. Yen Ran's face suddenly flushed red, and a bun was stuffed into his mouth. She cursed in her heart. Other than that, the rest of my innocence is already gone. Forget it, it's just a matter of time. After the charming scene, the two of them were finally ready to get down to business. When everything was ready, it was already after dinner. The lanterns were just lit, and the curtain of night slowly drew. Originally, Qiao Xiao didn't want to let Yen Ran go. The situation there was more dangerous, and he had been there a few times, but he didn't get any benefits. However, Yen Ran wanted to go and have a look. Qiao Xiao couldn't persuade her, so he could only hold Yen Ran's slender waist and fly her to the back of the mountain. Qiao Xiao prepared a gas mask for Yen Ran. Although he didn't need it, he was just in case. He was afraid that Yen Ran didn't have spiritual power and couldn't resist the invasion of the poisonous gas. The forbidden area at night was shrouded in a layer of wet fog. The original location of the black whirlpool was connected with the surroundings in the night. If Qiao Xiao hadn't been here a few times, he would have almost been blinded by the darkness of the night. If he wasn't careful, he would have stepped into the whirlpool and been sucked into the black hole. He pointed to Yen Ran from the air. It's there. During the day, you can see a whirlpool formed by leaves. If you're not careful, you'll be sucked into it. Yenran looked for a long time but didn't feel anything. She took a branch from the side and threw it toward the whirlpool that Xiao Xiao said. With a poof, the branch seemed to have entered a meat grinder and was directly pulled in by a hand. The sound of the branch being twisted sounded. In the darkness, it was creepy. Yenran took out the totem on her chest and handed it to Xiao Xiao. "Try using this." Xiao Xiao took it and nodded slightly. He used his devil chi and slowly lifted it into the sky. The ancient totem lit up with its own light and slowly rotated in the air. It was sometimes big and sometimes small. Like a wave, it took out its own small golden sword. The light of the small sword was particularly dazzling in the darkness. It was like a lighthouse, a pearl, and more like the stars in the sky. It fell into the whirlpool and illuminated it. Huge spiritual power fluctuations formed a cover around Xiao Xiao and Yenran, covering the two of them. "Go!" Xiao Xiao shouted. The small golden sword seemed to have heard the bugle horn and rushed into the depths of the whirlpool. A bright light forced back the intertwined branches and leaves on the surface of the whirlpool. This was not fire, but light. However, it brought with it endless energy. The branches and leaves seemed to have met the biggest enemy in their lives. They quickly retreated for fear of being splashed. The small golden sword was like a hot knife through butter. Soon, it cut a big hole in the area covered by the branches and leaves. "Yenran, look. That is the eye of the mythological beast." Its pair of bell-like eyes, which were originally green in the darkness, were now half squinting due to the golden light. However, the fierceness in its eyes was still there, and its ruthlessness was still there. It raised all the spikes on its body towards this rash intruder. The mythological beast opened its bloody mouth. The red tongue in its mouth flew up and down. In the blink of an eye, it spat out a flame toward the small golden sword. The small golden sword paused for a moment. It seemed to have a sneering expression. It was not afraid of the flame at all. It quickly sped up and directly passed through the flame, heading toward the mythological beast. The mythological beast's eyes showed great horror. Seeing the small golden sword rushing toward its eye, it quickly stood up. It was at this moment that Xiao Xiao finally saw its full appearance. It was more than 10 feet tall. Standing up from the pile of leaves, the tall trees around it became its small soldiers. It looked down on the heroes in the whole forest. After standing up straight, its eyes were on the same level as Xiao Xiao and Yenran in the air. Although its body was huge, it was extremely agile. A dinosaur-like tail swung toward the small golden sword. The small golden sword was about to be thrown to the side. However, how could this ancient golden sword be so easy to deal with? It quickly turned around in the air, avoiding the tail of the mythological beast. It went around to the back of the mythological beast. With a few puffs, it directly passed through the thick skin of the mythological beast and returned to the surroundings of the totem. Xiao Xiao set up the formation. Under Yenran's command, Xiao Xiao swiftly set up an array formation. He brought the divine beast and Yenran directly to the ancient battlefield. The changes in the scenery in front of him caused the divine beast to stop in his tracks. He looked left and right, only to see that the scenery he was in had completely disappeared. There was no longer the primordial forest that shielded him, nor was there the immortal extermination grass that he had been so meticulously protecting. Originally, when the small golden sword passed through his body, it left a few bloody holes. At this moment, fresh blood was flowing out. However, he did not care about anything. Instead, he ran around the ancient battlefield in a frenzy, as if he was looking for something. Those demon soldiers who were on standby stood still. Even if the mythological beast's big tail swept them, they would be swept away like wooden stakes by the broom. They maintained their original posture, lying on the ground like puppets without blinking their eyes. The mythological beast seemed to be panicking. He ran around the ancient battlefield crazily, but in the end, he did not find anything. His eyes revealed fear, but more than that, he was worried. This scene seemed to be familiar to him. It evoked more of his memories. He had once followed his master to fight on this battlefield. However, When he returned here, he lost his master. He was panicking. The only thing he could do now was to return to the two people who were standing alone on the battlefield. They were the two living people who brought him to this ancient battlefield. He ran in front of the two people and knelt down with a plop. However, because he was too tall, he could only stare at the two creatures who were only as tall as his feet. His mouth issued a buzzing sound. His huge bell-like eyes were slightly red. The pleading in his eyes was so obvious. "Xiao Xiao, show him your invincible martial arts," Yanran calmly ordered. After Xiao Xiao obeyed, he agreed. Finally, he used a flagpole on the ancient battlefield as a target and showed his invincible martial arts from beginning to end. Flying Fire Meteor, Fire Riding Wind, Magical Power Critical Strike, Guard Seal. When the mythological beast saw Xiao Xiao's movements, he originally thought that Xiao Xiao was going to attack him. In a panic, he had already made a defensive posture. However, he did not expect that Xiao Xiao was not going to attack him, but the flagpole. The more he watched, the bigger his eyes became. In the end, his red eyes were filled with tears. The whimpering sound from his mouth became louder and louder. In the end, it actually became a wail. Yanran made a gesture to Xiao Xiao, making him stop. Then Yanran asked the mythological beast, "Is this the martial arts that your master once knew?" The mythological beast looked at Yanran, who was only as tall as his ankle. That temperament was like a goddess descending to the world. She was cold and aloof, but her heart was caring for the world. He could not help but want to crawl on the ground. He wanted to obtain a trace of pity and help from this goddess. He desperately nodded his big head that was comparable to a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He used his thick animal skin palm to point at Xiao Xiao, and then pointed at himself. Tears of sadness flowed from his eyes. Chapter 232. Yanran looked at the behemoth prostrating in front of her and continued to speak condescendingly. "As you can see, he is your master's successor. We would like to ask you to take us to see your master." There was hesitation in the eyes of the mythological beast. Yanran knew that it was the master he had guarded for tens of thousands of years. He was worried that his master would be hurt. Yanran continued, "Your master's wish is not to be a blade of grass forever. What he wants is to wash away his grievances and avenge him. As his mythological beast, don't you know that?" The mythological beast's heart was in turmoil. At the same time, he once again blamed himself for his incompetence. For so many years, the only thing he could do was to guard his master. His master really wanted to take revenge and wash away his grievances. But as a mythological beast, what else could he do? He once again whimpered with grievances. Yanran continued, "You can check my pulse. Like your master, my meridians were damaged by the elixir. I also want to take revenge. I don't want to be unable to wash away my grievances. I don't want to become a blade of grass and be guarded by my mythological beast for tens of thousands of years. I will never be able to return to the chaotic world and be reincarnated." After that, Yanran stretched out her hand and placed it in front of the mythological beast. Xiao Xiao suddenly rushed up from behind and pulled back her hand. "Yanran, it's dangerous." Yanran gently patted away Xiao Xiao's hand and looked at Xiao Xiao with firm eyes. "I believe that the mythological beast will not hurt me." Then Yanran stretched out both her hands in front of the mythological beast and looked at him with firm eyes. "Come, check my pulse." Xiao Xiao's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He stared at the mythological beast. He was evaluating how many ways he could save Yanran without any harm if the mythological beast hurt Yanran. The mythological beast was also hesitating. Although he was confident in his own strength, he looked at Xiao Xiao's vigilant eyes and was worried that there might be a trap. He was the only mythological beast that protected his master. If he died, what would happen to his master? Yanran looked at the mythological beast for a long time without moving. She also didn't move and just stretched out her hands. Yanran withdrew her aura to make herself look like she had no attack power. Then she said to Xiao Xiao behind her, "Stay away." Xiao Xiao shook his head. But under Yanran's warning, he could only step back. Go back again behind the flagpole. Yenron's words. Calm, Qiao Xiao stamped his feet, gave the mythological beast a warning look, and retreated. Yenran turned around and looked at the mythological beast tenderly. Is it okay now? I don't have any spiritual power, so I can't hurt you. He is so far away, so he can't hurt you. Check my pulse. The mythological beast then moved. He lifted his huge butt and swept the ground with his tail, raising the dust in the air. It seemed to be a warning, but also seemed to be encouraging himself. He took a step forward, picked up Yenran, and held her in his arms. Qiao Xiao saw this and shouted anxiously, "What are you doing? Put her down." Yenran's voice came from above, "Qiao Xiao, don't move, just stand there." Qiao Xiao anxiously stamped his feet, but he couldn't do anything. He didn't dare to disobey Yenran's words. The mythological beast then sat down again, put Yenran down on his chest, and then put his thick palm directly on Yenran's Baihui acupoint. Qiao Zhao's teeth were about to break when he saw this. He shouted in the same place, "Mythological beast, if you dare to hurt Yenran, I will destroy your master's martial arts." At this time, the mythological beast did not care about him at all. The stench of the animal all over its body was about to make Yenran faint. Yenran forcibly suppressed the urge to cover her nose with her hand. She still used her eyes to look at the big eyes in front of her with a gentle and harmless gaze, completely ignoring the thick big palm on top of her head. The mythological beast's right palm condensed a surging force and directly hit Yenran's Baihui acupoint on top of her head. He used his left hand to hold Yenran's waist, fixing her in front of him so that she wouldn't fall because of the force. Qiao Xiao only saw that Yenran's clothes seemed to be blown by a strong wind. In an instant, her hair swelled up, and with the increase of force, it was gradually pulled into thin strands from the roots of Yenran's hair. It looked soft, but at this time, it was like steel needles. Yenran's face showed a painful expression, as if a mountain was pressing down from the top of her head, passing through her skull and reaching her internal organs. Yenran suddenly cried out in pain, "Ah!" But the mythological beast didn't care at all and didn't have the intention to stop. He continued to increase his force to explore Yenran's body. The force was like countless hands, following Yenran's every meridian, drilling inside. Yenran was tormented by these countless hands. Each hand had a fingernail, and when it touched her blocked meridian, it was like a red-hot soldering iron touching a welding point. Yenran couldn't help but twitch. Qiao Zhao's eyes turned red. He wanted to go forward, but at this time, he was blocked by the power of the mythological beast. He looked at Yenran struggling up and down involuntarily, and his heart ached so much that he wished that he was the one suffering. He fiercely pulled down the flagpole beside him and vented all his anger on it. The flagpole instantly turned into powder. Yenran endured the probing of the mythological beast's spiritual power. Countless hands gradually went down and arrived at her dantian. At this time, Yenran's dantian had long been empty like the sea. Yenran only felt the hands wandering around inside, trembling. Then, they paused for a moment and continued to wander around the meridians of her thighs. The meridians in Yenran's two slender legs were the most seriously blocked. Perhaps it was because people who cultivated spiritual power always sat cross-legged in their lower legs, so they had to gather more spiritual power than their upper body. Therefore, the damage caused by the spirit transforming pill was more serious than the damage caused by the upper body. When the invisible hands wandered around the meridians of her legs, Yenran felt a deeper pain. It wasn't like the pain in the upper body, but in the lower body, there was a burning sensation. Yenran couldn't help but moan. The sound of her breathing and neck tearing gouged out Qiao Zhao's heart. Qiao Xiao shouted from the side, "Mythological beast, that's enough. Be careful or I'll make things difficult for you in the future." With Qiao Zhao's roar, the mythological beast also finished probing the meridians of her whole body. He withdrew his hands and put down Yenran, who was sweating all over. Qiao Xiao immediately stepped forward and hugged her tenderly. Yenran's eyes were closed. Her whole body seemed to have been fished out of the water. Her hair was wet and stuck to her forehead, but at this time, Yenran's expression was no longer painful. Her face had returned to calmness. She closed her eyes and said to Xiao Xiao, "I'm fine, don't worry. It was just a little painful just now." At this time, the mythological beast said, "You didn't lie to me. She was indeed harmed by the spiritual transformation pill, just like my master back then." Because he hadn't spoken for a long time, the mythological beast stuttered, but Xiao Xiao and Yen Ran could still understand. Then the mythological beast told a heart-wrenching story from 10,000 years ago. My master was born in the demon world. He had long forgotten his original name. When he became an adult, he named himself Invincible. Where did he learn his martial arts? Yen Ran interrupted. My master's innate talent is extraordinary and intelligent. During a fortuitous encounter, he met a woman from the god realm. The two of them were attracted to each other and quickly fell in love. This woman had immortal arts. She enlightened Master's 8 extraordinary meridians and brought him into the path of cultivation. The two of them spent several beautiful years together. But suddenly one day, this fairy was captured by 2 people from the god realm. They said that gods and demons couldn't intermarry. That was their fairy from the 9th heaven. Because she was naughty and traveled to the demon world for too long, they were ordered to bring her back to the god realm. My master Invincible, of course, was unwilling. The two of them resisted with all their strength. But at that time, my master's martial arts hadn't reached the peak yet. The fairy was captured and brought back to the god realm. Before she left, the fairy told him that she was willing to be his wife. At the same time, the fairy left him a hibiscus book, telling him to cultivate well and wait for her return. He hated that his martial arts were not as good as hers. So in the following days, he cultivated desperately and used the hibiscus book to train his willpower. At the same time, he created a set of martial arts called Invincible. He directly named this set of martial arts Invincible. Yenron's eyelashes moved and she opened her eyes. Mythological beast, do you know? The hibiscus book is now in my hands. The mythological beast seemed to understand something. It seems that we are really fated. You must have been cultivating. Otherwise, my pulse examination would have made you wish you were dead. I didn't expect you to survive. Xiao Xiao glared at him fiercely. The mythological beast coldly snorted. Don't think that just because you are the successor of Invincible, you can glare at me. To you, I am also half a master. Then, the two of them ignored each other. After a while, the mythological beast continued to say, after my master cultivated his martial arts, he wanted to go to the god realm to find his lover. It was as difficult as climbing the heaven's stairway. Fortunately, my master's martial arts were the best in the world. He passed through 9 stages and finally reached the southern gate of the god realm. But after reaching the god realm, he realized that it was another world. Where could he go to find his fairy? After painstakingly searching, he couldn't find her. He simply took root in the god realm and became a general. Until one day, he was lucky enough to go to the throne room. Only then did he find out that the fairy sitting next to the Sky Emperor in the Qingwan Hall was his wife. He felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He didn't expect that his wife's status would be so high. He also didn't expect that the Sky Emperor would announce the marriage of the fairy. He was unwilling to give up. He finally found an opportunity to meet the fairy in private. He found out that his wife was the Sky Emperor's niece. In order to balance the 6 generations, the Sky Emperor couldn't bear to part with his own child. So, he sent people to the demon realm to capture his niece and send her to the marriage. What made him most gratified was that his fairy still loved him deeply, but she couldn't resist the Sky Emperor's arrangement. Invincible comforted her. He knew that the Sky Emperor had once made a promise. As long as someone could help him take down a small country that had been threatening them, he could make a request. The Sky Emperor would definitely agree to it. So he asked the fairy to delay the Sky Emperor as much as possible, while he went to be the god of war. After half a year, he returned in triumph and finally became the god of war. He asked the Sky Emperor for any reward, but he didn't want him. He only wanted his fairy. Although the Sky Emperor was unhappy, he couldn't take back his words. He could only agree to Invincible's request. But he didn't expect that everything would change on the eve of the wedding. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.